Good evening and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep. Am I audible and visible? Sudhanshu, good evening. Anushka, am I audible and visible? Yeah, thank you, Sudhanshu. Thank you, Anushka. Let some more people join in and then I'll continue. I'll begin. Thank you, Prajneet. Right. So, yesterday we continued the topic art and architecture. We have covered Mauryan art. Till now, we have covered Mauryan art, which consists of court art and popular art. In court art, we have covered palaces, the pillars of Ashoka, and we have seen the difference between Ashokan and Persian pillars, then stupas and viharas. And we have also looked at the various parts of a stupa, important stupas, and the symbolic significance of the different parts of a stupa. And also we looked at popular art. Then yesterday I completed Mauryan art and I came to post-Mauryan art. In post-Mauryan art, we have covered Gandhara School of Art, Mathura, and Amaravati schools of art. So three schools of art we have covered. Then we came to the Gupta period, and during the Gupta period, uh, we see that we have the emergence of three forms of temple architecture, as mentioned in the Shilpa Shastra books, the books of Indian architecture. North Indian style of temple building is called Nagara. So we have looked at the various features of a Nagara temple, the different parts of a temple, then, of course, the sub-styles or regional variations to Nagara school seen in Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat, Rajasthan. So I have covered that. And then I came to Dravida style. We will today do Dravida style of temple architecture and the various dynasties which followed Dravida style, like the Pallavas, the Cholas, etc. Then we also will discuss the Vesara style. And once I complete ancient Indian architecture, we can move on to medieval in Indian architecture, right? So let us start from wherever I. Okay, let me make an announcement here. There is some technical issue, I believe. The team is looking into it. Annotated PPTs as well as recordings are not getting uploaded on the BEP app. So I had forwarded some of the mails. You have given me, you have written some mails to me. I forwarded the mail to the concerned team, and then I got a reply stating that they're working on that technical problem. So that is across all the subjects, not just my subject, but across all other subjects also. So it's not recording, neither is the annotated PPT is getting uploaded. So that will be solved as soon as possible, and it will be intimated to you, and it will be forwarded to you. Okay, so yep, you. I have got this message from the team, and they are looking into it, and it will be soon rectified. And whatever missing material they are supposed to send it to you, it will be sent to you. Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. Now let us start with Dravida style, wherever I left off yesterday. So Dravida style of temple building. We see the foundation of Dravida style under the Pallava emperors, Pallava kings. And the Pallavas ruled from Kanchipuram. These are the imperial Pallavas who ruled from imperial Pallavas, who ruled from the 6th century to the 9th century AD, right? We have seen this. And we have four important Pallava kings, Mahendavarman the first, then Narasimhavarman the first, or Mamalla. Narasimhavarman the first is the person who killed Pulakeshi the second and took the title of Mamalla and Vatapi Konda, and established the city of or town of Mamallapuram, which is now called Mahabalipuram in English, or Mamallapuram. So Narasimhavarman the first, the greatest of the Pallavas, then Narasimhavarman the second, who had Rajasimha as one of his titles, and Nandivarman the second, Nandivarma II, if you remember, gave his daughter in marriage to the Chalukyan king Vikramaditya II, and that was the only instance of example of restraint between these two dynasties. I have discussed the Pallava Chalukya conflict. So these are the four important kings: Mahendravarman the first, Narasimhavarman the first, Narasimhavarman the second, and Nandivarman the second. And we see enormous progress, development of temple building under these four kings of the Pallavas. So they are named aptly after these kings. For example, we have the first stage called the Mahendra group of temples. Mahendra group of temples. These temples belong to the period of Mahendravarman the first. Then Narsimha group of temples or Mamalla style temples belonging to the period of Mamalla or Narasimhavarman the first. Then Rajasimha group of temples built during the period of Narasimhavarman the second. And lastly, Nandivarman group or Aparajita group, temples belonging to the period of Nandivarman the second. So these are the important Pallava kings. Yesterday we have discussed the first stage, that is Mahendra group of temples belonging to the period of Mahendravarman the first. So here we see the development of mandapas during this period. And what is a mandapa? I have showed you the picture of a mandapa. So it's simply a pillared hall with the Garbhagriha in the background. So you have the Garbhagriha in the background, and then just outside the Garbhagriha, we have a small pillared hall. So this is the example. This is called a mandapa. And what are the examples? We have the rock cut temples at Bhairavakona and the Ananteshwara temple at Undavali in the Guntur district of Andhra. So this is the rock cut temples at Bhairavakona in Andhra Pradesh. I have put two pictures here. You can see here, this is a Shiva temple because Nandi is stationed outside. So obviously this is a Shiva temple. So this is the Garbhagriha, and we have a small pillar, a pillared porch just outside the Garbhagriha, and this is called a mandapa. So there is no use of brick, stone, etc. It is carved out from a hill, from a rocky hill. It has been carved out, and this is called a mandapa, right? Then, of course, Ananteshwara temple at Undavali in the Guntur district of Andhra. We see Vishnu is sleeping in a reclining position. He is sleeping inside the cave. So this is again an example of mandapa. This is the first stage. Then we go to the second stage. I stopped here last class yesterday. We'll continue from here. Yeah, Tashi, hello. Good evening. Can we move on, all of us, all of you? There's no problem from your end. Audible and visible. Okay, now, thank you. Now, we have the greatest of the Pallava kings, Narasimhavarman the first. And he had the title of Mamalla. He founded the city of Mahabalipuram and took the title of Mamalla. So, this is called Narasimha group of temples. Now, what do we see during this period, during the period of Narasimhavarman the first? Of course, we have the continuation of mandapas. So, mandapas continued to be carved out or hewn out from a hill. And then rathas. We see two examples during this period, mandapas and rathas. So mandapas, we have seen the development of mandapas under Mahendravarman the first. So in the first part of Narasimhavarman's rule, we have the construction of mandapas. You can see here mandapas. So we have Panchapandama mandapa. They are all found in Mahamalipuram or Mamalapuram, about 50 kilometers from Chennai. About 50 kilometers from Chennai, off the Bay of Bengal, you have this town called Mahabalipuram. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it's a beautiful place for a short holiday also. So here we see mandapas, Panchapandava mandapa, Adivaraha mandapa. So these are the names of these mandapas. For example, we have the Panchapandava mandapa. You can see here, I put pictures for our convenience. Panchapandava mandapa. This is the Panchapandava mandapa, right? And inside the Panchapandava mandapa, we have sculptures, beautiful sculptures. So, for example, Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill. You can see here, Krishna is lifting the Govardhan Hill. And again, we have to go back to mythological story where Indra got angry. Indra created a deluge on Govardhan. So there was a heavy rainfall. People of Govardhan were very disturbed and distraught because of this reason, and therefore they came to Krishna asking for help. And Krishna simply lifted the Govardhan Hill, and that way prevented the rains from further troubling the people of Gokul, right? So this is what has been depicted in this particular sculpture, the Krishna lifting Govardhan Hills. So this is the Panchapandava Mandapa. We have, of course, Hindu gods being depicted in the sculptures, like Mahisha Mardani, that is Durga killing the buffalo demon Mahisha. Then Vishnu, Brahma, Harihara, etc. Then Adivaraha Mandapa. This is the Adi Varamahantava or Varaha cave temple in Mahabalipuram. You can see here Vishnu in the Varaha avatar, a boar in the avatar of boar, rescuing Mother Earth from the depths of the ocean. So he is carrying Mother Earth with him in his hands after having rescued her. So here, please understand, I've told you this, Pallavas claim descent from Vishnu. So we have a number of sculptures inside the Varaha Mantapa, Adi Varaha Mantapa, again found at Mahabalipuram. Then again, on the walls of the Adi Varaha Mantapa, we have Vishnu in his gigantic Trivikrama form. So he is supposed to have taken 3 giant steps, isn't it? In the final step, he crushed Bali to death. So this is the Trivikrama form of Vishnu. So these are all depicted in the Adi Varaha Mantapa. Right? So this is the first stage, construction of mandapas, which continued from the period of Mahendravarman. Then we have a second stage within the Narsimha group of temples. That is Rathas, the construction of Rathas. You see here, I show you the picture first of all. On your screen, these are called Rathas. You see on your screen, these are monolithic temples. Basically, they are monolithic temples. They are monolithic temples carved from top to bottom. Monolithic temples. So they are called Pancha Pandava Ratha. But actually there are about 8 of them, but popularly called 7 pagodas. But the 5 Pandava, it's named after the Pandava family. That is, the 5 brothers, Yudhishthir or Dharmaraja, Bhima, then Arjuna, then Nakula and Sahadeva, and of course Draupadi. Now, we have 5 Rathas dedicated to the Pandava family that you can see on your screen. Dharmaraja, Dharmaraja, that is Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva have one temple, one Ratha for themselves. It's a monolithic temple, and Draupadi. And of course, we have 3 more gods: Ganesha, Pidari, Valayan Kuttai. Ganesha, Pidari, Valayan Kuttai. So these are monolithic temples, all dedicated to Lord Shiva. It is dedicated to Shiva, but they're called Pancha Pandava Rathas, Pancha Pandava Rathas, and sometimes also called 7 pagodas. Okay, so they have been carved from top to bottom. So these are called rathas, right? Now look here on your screen, Dharmaraja Ratha. So I have put separate picture. This is pictures together where all the 5 rathas are seen. But then separately, if you look at it, it looks like this: Dharmaraja Ratha. So here, this is for Dharmaraja, the eldest brother of the Pandava brothers, eldest brother among the Pandava family. It has been carved from top to bottom, right? And inside the Dharmaraja Ratha, what we notice is we have Narsimha Varma. Understand this? Narsimha Varman the first is shown as a deity, as a god. King Narsimha Varman the first is shown as a god, right? Now this particular practice, or this particular tradition, became common under the Cholas, because under the Cholas, the Cholas built great temples. They were Shiva worshippers. But then, if you look at the Brihadeshwara temple built at Tanjavur or Tanjore by Rajaraja, the tallest medieval temple in India is the Rajarajeshwara or the Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjore. I'll come to that in some time. It's basically a Shiva temple. But then the Brihadeshwara temple is also called Rajarajeshwara temple. Now, what is the reason for that? The reason is that the Cholas had the practice of installing an image of their king and queen inside the temple. And the king and the queen were also worshipped like gods. Do you understand? It's basically a Shiva temple. The main deity is, of course, Shiva. But then you also have a subsidiary shrine where the image of Rajaraja and his wife was made, his queen was made, and they were also worshipped like gods. Therefore, the Brihadeshwara temple is also known as the Rajarajeshwara temple. Now, this practice of worshipping kings as gods is seen first in the Dharmaraja Ratha. Because inside the Dharmaraja Ratha, we have the image of King Narsimhavarman I, who is depicted like a god. Did you understand what I just now told you? No, these are local gods, Hari. Ganesha, Pidari, Valayan Kuttai. These are local gods, Pidari and Valayan Kuttai. So totally there are 8 rathas, but they are popularly called 7 pagodas. And out of these 8 rathas, 5 are dedicated to the Pandava family. So popularly they are called Pancha Pandava Rathas. Did you understand, Hari? Popularly they are called Pancha Pandava Ratha, but all these rathas or monolithic temples are dedicated to Lord Shiva, right? So I just want to explain to you about Dharmaraja Ratha. So we have the practice of kings being depicted like gods, seen first in the Dharmaraja Ratha, where we have an image of King Narasimhavarman the first, depicted like a god. Yeah, Draupadi also. Draupadi also has one Ratha for her. I'm just coming to that, just hold on. Then you see here, we have the Bhima Ratha. This is the Bhima Ratha. This has got a barrel vaulted roof. It is like a barrel. You can see here, this looks like a barrel. This roof looks like a barrel, half barrel, right? And we have in a reclining Vishnu inside. There's a Vishnu is reclining inside. It is incomplete. The Bhima Ratha. Then this is the Arjuna Ratha. This is incomplete, the Arjuna Ratha. And next to the Arjuna Ratha, we have a small bull. A bull has been carved here. This is called Arjuna Ratha, which is incomplete. Then we have the Adi Varaha cave. This is the Adi Varaha cave in Mahabalipuram. And the ceiling is carved with floral designs. The ceiling has flower designs on top, right? This is the Adi Varaha cave. Then this is the Nakula Sahadeva Ratha. It is incomplete again. And you have an elephant carved outside the Nakula Sahadeva Ratha, right? Now, what are the specialities of these Rathas? For example, we have the Draupadi Ratha. Where is the Draupadi Ratha? You see here? This is Draupadi Ratha. On your screen, this is Draupadi Ratha. Now, look at the roof of the Draupadi Ratha. It is like a Bengali hut. This is called a Bengali hut. This has been designed like a Bengali hut. It is found in Tamil Nadu, in Mahabalipuram, but it has the shape of a Bengali hut. This is very unique to the Draupadi Ratha alone, right? So, unique features I have given here. You see here, Draupadi Ratha is designed, its roof resembles a Bengali hut. Dharmaraj and Arjuna Rathas have rectangular base and octagonal dome. Nakula Sahadeva Rathas, you have the entrance porch, which has no decoration. That is the Mukhamantapa. Yeah, they're all monolithic. Sharmi, they're all monolithic. So once upon a time, there were boulders there. And these boulders have been carved from top to down into rathas, into temples, monolithic temples. So all are monolithic. You understand? Then Dharmaraja Ratha, I told you, we have the engraved image of Narasimhavarman the first, who is shown like a god. Right. And all these rathas have been carved from top to bottom. This is the second stage. The Narsimha group of temples or Mamala style. So in Mamala style, we see mandapas and rathas. Can I move on? This is the second stage. This is the second stage. Then, of course, about 4 kilometers away from Mahabalipuram, we have the Tiger Cave. This is called Tiger Cave. And at the entrance of this Tiger Cave, we have a mythical lion. This is called Yalis. You can see here, these are all Yalis. This looks like the face of a lion. So they are mythical lion-like creatures. And of course, you have a water body in front of the Tiger Cave. So this is second stage. Then we come to the third stage. So please understand, transition from mandapas, then rathas, then we have freestanding structural temples. Freestanding structural temples. So the foundation of Dravida style is, slowly devolved from mandapas, then to rathas, and then to freestanding structural temples. We have the third stage, Narasimhavarman II, also called Rajasimha. So the period of King Narasimhavarman II, also called Rajasimha. Rajasimha was one of his titles. So what do we notice? We notice the transition from what do you call rathas to temples. So stones, bricks were used to construct temples in place of rock cut architecture. So mandapas and rathas were basically rock cut architecture. Then we have construction of temples with usage of stones and bricks. So what are the best examples we can cite under Rajasimha group of temples? We have the Shore Temple. The Shore Temple at Mahabalipuram, the Kailashanatha Temple at Kanchipuram, both built by King Narasimhavarman II. You see here, this is the Shore Temple at Mahabalipuram, Tamil Nadu. This is the first, understand this, this is the first structural temple built according to the Dravida style in India. First structural temple. First structural temple in Dravida style. This is the Shore Temple at Mahabalipuram. This is basically a Shiva temple. It is dedicated to Shiva. It is on the banks of the Bay of Bengal. So they have called it a Shore Temple. It's on the seashore. So it's the first structural temple in Dravida style, built by Narasimhavarman II. And then, of course, we have this is very unique. You see here, So I have taken some trouble to put all these things in one relevant topic. So, for example, we have diving Varaha. So Vishnu, you see, is supposed to have taken the form of Varaha, boar, and rescued the Mother Earth. You have a demon called Hiranyaksha who had taken Mother Earth, Bhudevi, into the ocean, and he had hidden her there. So, Vishnu, according to mythological story, Vishnu is supposed to have taken the form of a boar, wild boar, and then he dived into the ocean and he rescued Mother Earth. So he kept Mother Earth on his two what do you call horns, and then he rescued her from the clutches of Hiranyaksha. So here, generally, in the sculptures throughout India, in the sculptures, Vishnu is shown with his head high. Vishnu he has his head high. That is, boar is looking up, and he has the Mother Earth in his arms. That means he has already rescued Mother Earth. This is the only sculpture in India where we see the boar facing down. It is looking down as if it is about to dive into the ocean. Did you understand? This is found in the Shore Temple complex, the divine Varaha in the Shore Temple complex. Yeah, you're right, Krishna. Yeah, that is right. Right. Then we have the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. Again, this is dedicated to Shiva. This was built by Narasimhavarma II. And this is called Chapel Royal. It is meant for the royal family. It was meant for the royal family, only for the king, for his personal worship and his family's personal worship, not for the public. The Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. And I have told you in some context, when I did ancient India, I have told you this, but again, I'll repeat it. This temple at Kanchipuram, the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram, became the inspiration for two temples. Can you name those two temples, please? This temple at Kanchipuram became the inspiration for the construction of two temples. What are those two temples? Do you recollect whatever I had told you earlier? If you have revised your lessons, you would have been able to answer this question. You should be able to answer this question. Okay, Shimna says Ellora. Very good. Which is the temple, Shimna? The Kailasa temple at Ellora. Very good. And then what is the other one? At Pattadakal. Bhimare says Pattadakal. Very good, Bhimare. I never expected most of you to answer this question, but I'm really surprised here. Very good. So here we have this temple was the inspiration for two temples. One is the Kailasa temple. We'll come to that in some time. Kailasa temple at Ellora, built by the Rashtrakuta king Krishna the First. So Krishna the First built it. He was a Rashtrakuta king. And the second is, of course, the Virupaksha temple or the Lokeshwara temple. The Lokeshwara, also called Virupaksha temple, built by at Pattadakal. It is at Pattadakal, built by Loka Mahadevi, Queen Loka Mahadevi, one of the queens of King Vikramaditya II. Till now, UPSC has not asked a question from this, this part. They should ask you a question. So this is the inspiration for two temples. One is this at Ellora, the Kailasha temple, and the other is the Lokeshwara temple or the Virupaksha temple at Pattadakal. So this is the Rajasimha group of temples. Most important I have given you. There are other temples. I have mentioned it in the list. You can see here, but they're not very important. Please remember the most important ones. Remember the most important ones. There are three temples at Mahabalipuram. Shore temple, Ishvara, Mukunda. You don't need to remember Ishvara and Mukunda. Remember Shore temple built by Narasimhavarma II. And the Kailashanatha temple, also called Rajasimeshwara temple at Kanchipuram, built again by Narasimhavarma II. Clear? This is the third stage. Then we come to the fourth stage. Fourth stage is Nandivarman group of temples or Aparajita group. So this is the period of King Nandivarman II. So we have a transition from Pallavan architecture to Chola architecture. So this is a transition phase. Pallavas were succeeded by the Cholas. So what we notice is temples are more ornate. What do you mean by ornate? They have complicated decorations. Beautiful decorations are there. Very complicated decorations. And the temple is small in size. So this is a transition phase. So what is the best example? Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanchipuram, built by Nandivarman II. This is the best example of Nandivarman group of temples. Of course, there are others like Mukteshwara, Matangeshwara at Kanchi, Vadamalishwara at Vargadam, Parusharameshwara at Gudimalam. Don't worry, don't try to break your head. Remember the most important ones. That's why I've highlighted the most important ones here. So please remember the most important ones. Vaikunta Perumal Temple at Kanchipuram, built by Nandivarma II, though this is big in size. The exception is that it is big. It is not small, it is big. You can see this. This is the Vaikunta Perumal Temple at Kanchipuram, locally in Tamil called Tiruparameswara Vinnagaram. But don't worry about the Tamil name. Remember the English name, Vaikunta Perumal Temple at Kanchipuram, built by Nandivarma II. So this is Pallavan temples, which we see in 4 stages. Did you understand? Hello, all of you, clear? So we have, as you can understand, we have mandapas first, mandapas. Then from mandapas, we have the construction of rathas. So mandapas were basically cave temples, as you can understand, cave temples. And these are the earliest cave temples in India. Hello, all of you, understand this. Earliest cave temples are found in Mahabalipuram. The earliest cave temples are found here in Mahabalipuram. So under the Pallava rule. So mandapas, this is number one, mandapas, right? Then of course, then we have monolithic temples called rathas, and then we have the construction of structural temples. Gradual transition towards freestanding structural temples. And the first freestanding structural temple built according to Dravida style. We have seen this. The shore temple at Mamalapuram, built by Narasimhavarman II. Please remember that. Right? Then we go to Pallavan sculpture. Let us go to Pallavan sculpture. So here they resemble those of the Guptas. Pallavan sculptures are almost all the Pallavan sculptures are found in Mahabalipuram. They are found in Mahabalipuram, Pallavan sculptures. So let us look at them, important ones. Nandi outside shore temple. Nandi outside shore temple. You see here, I put pictures. So these are the Nandis. Just outside the shore temple, we have Nandis in a line. You can see on either side, Nandis. So this is Nandi outside shore temple. This is one example of Pallavan sculpture. Second is the descendant of Ganges or Arjuna's parents. Remember this particular picture even when I did conventional ancient Indian history, last chapter, post-Gupta period, when I did Pallava history, I have explained to you. This is the largest bas relief in the world. This is called Arjuna's parents or descent of the Ganges at Mahabalipuram in Tamil Nadu. Do you remember this? This is the largest bas relief in the world. Largest bas relief in the world. So this is another example of Pallavan sculpture, right? You see here, river Ganga is coming down. Then this is supposedly Bhagiratha. Some say this is Bhagiratha, but some say this is Arjuna. So here you see Arjuna is standing on one leg and he is praying, he is meditating, he is doing penance to Shiva. And Shiva has appeared here. You see Shiva has appeared. And down below you see a cat. You see here, a cat is imitating Arjuna. And looking at the cat, a mice has come nearby. You see here, you have a mice which has come nearby, thinking that the cat is a saint. But basically, the sculptor is trying to convey the message that don't be fooled by appearances. It's only a ploy on the part of the cat to catch the mice and eat it up. Then this is the Vishnu temple here. This was the family god of the Pallavas. And then you see some of the heads of the sculptures are missing. You see, the head of Mahendravarman the first is missing. The head of Narasimhavarman the first is missing. And Narasimhavarman the second's head is also missing. It was cut off by, of course, Vikramaditya II, who plundered Chalukyan, the Badami Chalukyan king, who plundered Kanchi 3 times. Here you have a lion coexisting with a deer in the same ashram. So this is the ashram of a saint, as you can see. So you have a lion here coexisting along with a deer. So in the right environment, both the lion and the deer can coexist. That's what the sculptor is trying to tell. You have the beautiful river life. Elephants have come along with their calves to drink water. They look so lifelike, these elephant sculptures. And then, of course, you have monkeys. You see monkeys here, birds, different birds, yakshas, yakshinis, They have all come to the waterfront. You can see birds here. They have all come to the waterfront. You have also devotees praying here, some to Vishnu, some to Ganga. So this is the largest bas relief in the world, found at Mahabalipuram. This was a UPSC question asked in one of the choices. One of the choices, UPSC had asked this question. That's why I have also put pictures in my PPTs. Then, of course, Durga slaying the buffalo demon, Mahishasura. Mythological stories, remember there was a demon called Mahisha who had taken a boon, and he had a buffalo head. You can see he's got a buffalo head. And according to the boon which he had got from Brahma, even if one drop of blood falls on the ground, another Mahisha will appear. So therefore, there would be no death for Mahisha, according to the boon which had been bestowed upon him by the gods. Therefore, Durga fights against Mahisha, and has a bowl in her hand. She doesn't want the blood to fall, so she is fighting against Mahisha and hurting him. And at the same time, she's holding a bowl in one of her hands so that she can collect the blood and prevent the blood from falling onto the ground. Because if it falls, Mahisha's even one drop of blood falls on the ground, that will result in another Mahisha appearing, according to mythological story. So this is what has been shown here: the army of Mahishasura fighting against Durga, right? So this is about Pallavan architecture. Yeah, Ankush, I have told you this. It was done willfully. Yes, it was done willfully because we have Vikramaditya II who plundered Kanchipuram. He defeated the Pallavas 3 times, 3 different kings he defeated. So in that, when he did that, when he raided into Kanchipuram, he engaged in some amount of vandalism. You're right, Ankit. The demon name was Rakta Beach. No, okay. I may be. Thanks for correcting me. I think. Oh, you're right, Ankit. Yeah, I think so. That was Rakta Beach. I think this is Mahishasura story, slightly different. Anyway, thanks for correcting me. Okay, correct. Even in the prayer of Durga, the name of Mahishasura appears. Right. Correct. Thank you, Krishna. Okay. Did you understand? This is Pallavan architecture. This is Pallavan style, which we see in four stages, and of course, important Pallavan sculptures. Then we come to Vesara. Hello, we come to Vesara style. So we have discussed about Nagara. We have discussed about Dravida. There are four, that is the foundation of the Dravida style was laid by the Pallavas. And all the features of a Dravida temple are seen in Chola temples. We'll come to Chola architecture, but let us first talk about Vesara style. Vesara style of temples. So Vesara style. Vesara literally means mule. What's a mule? A mule is a cross between a horse and a donkey. When you cross a horse and a donkey, you get a mule. So that is the literal meaning of Vesara, mule. So here it is nothing but a mixture of Nagara and Dravida. A mixture of Nagara and Dravida. And as you can understand, so who were the ones who followed this school of architecture, this type of architecture? We have the Chalukyas of Badami. So the Chalukyas of Badami ruled a buffer zone. You can see here, somewhere here they ruled, right? Some very near to North India. They also plundered parts of Gujarat, southern Gujarat, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh at various times. So here they ruled a buffer zone, the Chalukyas of Badami, and they therefore incorporated elements of both Nagara and Dravida. Because uh, so it was developed by the Chalukyas of Badami. So Chalukyas of Badami were the ones who began this style of temple building. Then we have their feudatories, the Rashtrakutas, who also followed Vesara style, the Rashtrakutas. Then they were succeeded by the Kalyana Chalukyas. So they were the feudatories of the Rashtrakutas, the Kalyana Chalukyas. So their style of temple building is also called Vesara. And finally, one of the successors of the Kalyana Chalukyas were the Hoysalas. So Hoysalas also followed Vesara style. So these are the four dynasties: Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas, Kalyana Chalukyas, and the Hoysalas, who followed Vesara style. Yes, did you understand? Chalukyas of Badami, then Rashtrakutas, Kalyana Chalukyas, and the Hoysalas. Now, what we notice here, the main thing, understand this, the main aspect about Vesara style is that stones were finely cut and placed next to each other without a cementing agent in between. That is the most unique aspect of Vesara style. So, for example, if you have seen a person building a house, mason building a house, what does he do? He arranges bricks. Okay, he arranges bricks, for example, like that, like this. Then he puts something like a cement, something which will bind the bricks together. So he'll put the cement here, right? Then he'll place the bricks. He'll also put cement in between, right? In Vesara style, what we notice is they don't use any cement in between or any binding medium in between. So stones are finely cut. Stones are finely cut and placed next to each other. You understand? So stones are finely cut and placed next to each other without any cement in between. That's the most important aspect. Of course, the temple has been built on a jagati. The temple has been built on a platform. Then we have very uniquely carved pillars. So they are large in size. Then they are highly polished. Then you have stone windows in Vesara temples. That's there in even Dravida style, but this is very prominent in Vesara. There are stone windows. Then over a period of time, slowly the temple became star-shaped. In the later stages, the temple became star-shaped, like as we see under the Hoysalas. Under Hoysalas, the temples became star-shaped. So temples became star-shaped in the later part of the time. And they don't have the shikaras, which are seen mostly in Nagara temples. They don't have the shikaras. So these are the most important aspects of Vesara style. So you can see here on your screen, unique features: stone finely joined without mortar. Mortar means cementing agent, cementing material. So main centers are Aihole, Badami, Pattadakal. So what are the features on your screen? So they have been inspired by the Buddhist absidal chapels. So Vesara style were influenced by Buddhist absidal chapels. So we have seen this. What's an apse? So you see yesterday we have seen this Chaitya. So this part of a Chaitya is called apse. So they have been inspired by Buddhist absidal chapels. Projections on the walls and superstructure were multiplied, and shikara and roof became stepped. So projections on the wall and superstructure were multiplied. Shikara and roof became stepped. You have steps. They became stepped. Then later the plan became star-shaped. The temple is in the form of a star shape, which became pretty prominent under the Hoysalas. Then the pillars are massive, often circular, richly carved and highly polished. Then we have richly carved stone windows, and temples stand on a terrace. So these are the important features of Vesara temples. So who are the dynasties? Which are the dynasties which followed Vesara style? The Chalukyas of Badami, the Rashtrakutas, the Rashtrakutas, the Chalukyas of Kalyana, and the Hoysalas. And what are the best examples? The Mahadeva temple at Intagi in the Koppal district of Karnataka. Then the Keshava temple at Somanathapur, which is a Vesara temple in the Nagara style. So it's a Vesara temple in the Nagara style. And Channakeshava temple at Belur, which is a Vesara temple in the Dravida style. So these are the important examples of Vesara temples. No, on the walls, basically in the walls and on the roof, where you have huge stones placed, they have just placed it like that without any cementing or binding medium. Just one. So that's the main aspect of Vesara temples. Right now, Chalukyan temples, the Badami Chalukyan temples, they are seen in two stages, building activity in two stages. In the first stage, we have temples at Aihole and Badami. In the first stage, we have temples at Aihole and Badami, and in the second stage, we have temples at Pattadakkal. So Aihole, this was the cultural center of the Chalukyas. This is a temple town. There are about 70 temples here at Aihole. So what are the important temples? I have given the list here: Ladkhan Temple, Durga Temple, Uchimaligudi Temple, and the Jain Temple of Meguti. So this is the Ladkhan Temple. Why is it called Ladkhan Temple? because this is in the village of Lad Khan. The name of the village is Lad Khan. So, name of the village is Lad Khan. Name of the village is Lad Khan, and therefore it's called Lad Khan temple. Then this is the Durga temple. Basically, it's a rectangular temple inspired by the Buddhist apsidal chapel, as you can see. So this is Durga temple at Aihole. Then the Uchimaliguri temple at Aihole. And then the Meguti Jain temple at Aihole. So these are the important temples at Aihole. Aihole was the early capital of the Chalukyas. This is the cultural center of the Chalukyas, the Aihole. Then, of course, we have Badami, which became the capital of the Chalukyas. The best example is Malagitti Shivalaya temple or Upper Shivalaya temple. And also we have 4 rock cut halls here, 3 Hindu and 1 Jaina rock cut halls. So this is Malagitti Shivalaya temple or Upper Shivalaya temple at Badami. You see here, this is the Upper Shivalaya temple at Badami. And then we have the cave temple, cave temple number 3 at Badami. So these are temples at Aihole and Badami. And about 20 kilometers away from Aihole is another town called Pattadakal. So the second stage is seen at Pattadakal. There are 10 temples here, out of which 4 are Nagara and 6 are Dravida. Yes, Lad Khan is a Muslim name, obviously, Bhimare. It is the name of a village. And that temple is named after that village. That's why it's called Lad Khan temple. Okay. No, that is the Varsha. She's asking, don't these temples fall due to the presence of unbound stones? No, definitely not. Otherwise, it should have fallen by this time. So they have neatly cut and placed it next to each other. It's not that it is floating on air, isn't it? They have been neatly cut and placed, and wherever you have gaps, obviously it will be placed between 2 stones. There'll be some support. Entire weight is taken by other stones. So they would have made it like that. Ankush, I'm not very sure about what god is inside the Ladkhan temple. It could be maybe mostly it is Vishnu. I think it will be mostly Vishnu, right? Because the Badami Chalukyas were Vishnu worshippers, right? They were Varaha. It must be Varaha, Vishnu worshippers. Then at Pattadakal, we have some temples in the northern style, some temples in the southern style. So let us look at those temples, and then one temple is in the Kanchi style. So Nagara temple. You see here, Nagara style. This is the Papanatha temple. You see on your screen, Papanatha temple, also called Mukteshwar temple. This is in the Nagara style. How do we know it's in the Nagara style? Look here, it has been built at a height, Jagati platform, and look at the shikara here. You see, it's curving. You see here, it is curving to a point at the top, like you see in North Indian temples. Therefore, this is a Nagara style temple, Papanatha. So Papanatha is in the Nagara style, North Indian style, right? Then Dravida temple. This is the Sangameshwara temple, Dravida style. You see here, look at the spire on top of the Garbhagriha. It is pyramidical in shape. You see, it's like a pyramid. Therefore, this is the Dravida style, Sangameshwara temple at Pattadakal. Then we have Kanchi style. This is the Virupaksha temple or Lokeshwara temple, built by Loka Mahadevi, one of the queens of Vikramaditya II, which imitates the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. Therefore, it's called Kanchi style. This is the Kanchi style, Virupaksha temple or Lokeshwara temple at Pattadakal, right? Directly inspired by the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. So this is in the Kanchi style. So please remember this, right? This is your Vesara temples. The name of the village is Ladkhan, Jaswant, and therefore the temple is also named after that village, Ladkhan temple. No, there was nobody called Ladkhan in history. Okay, now we'll come back here. let us go to the next phase, next stage, that is the Chola period, the Cholas. Now, all the features. So here you have a natural transition from Pallavan period to a Chola period. And initially, please understand, initial Chola temples are small in size. Initial Chola temples are small in size, very, very beautiful to look at, though they are small in size. And later, and of course, you have elaborate carvings on those temples. And then in the later stage, we have gigantic temples built by the Chola kings, Rajaraja, Rajendra. Um, and since they were an imperial force, the Cholas brought most parts of South India under their control. Their influence was seen across the Bay of Bengal in Southeast Asia. Uh, that their temples were a projection of their power and pelf. So huge amount of money was spent on those temples, and basically the Cholas were Shiva worshippers. Therefore, they built Shiva temples, and they are made of solid granite. Pallavan temples are also made of granite. The Chola temples are also made of granite. So let me first show you the pictures of these temples built by the Cholas, and then all the features of a Dravida temple are found in Chola temples. So let us first look at that. Let look at the layout. Look here on your screen. On your screen, this is how a Dravida temple looks like. So here, this is the Gopuram entrance gateway. You see here, Gopuram. What's a Gopuram? Entrance gateway. So you have a boundary wall. In the four directions, you have four walls. You have a compound wall around the Dravida temple, and you have a main gateway. That main gateway is called Gopuram. I'll show you the picture in some time. Just hold on. So you have a Gopuram. So you enter the temple like this. Where you have entered, and you walk. You walk towards the assembly hall, Mandapa. This is the Mandapa, assembly hall. You can see assembly hall, Mandapa. So you enter the temple. Then, as you proceed, you have the Garbhagriha here. Garbhagriha. There's a Garbhagriha. Then you have an Antarala. Antarala is what? Antarala connects the Mandapa to the Garbhagriha. A corridor. A corridor which connects Mandapa to the Garbhagriha. That is called Antarala. Then Vimana. Yesterday I have told you what's a Vimana. Do you know what is a Vimana? Vimana, I told you, it is a spire including the Garbhagriha. The spire including the Garbhagriha. No, there's no Panchayatana style. In Dravida temples, there's no Panchayatana style. I'll come to that, Krishna, just hold on. You see here? So in a South Indian temple, you have the Garbhagriha. This is the Garbhagriha. So this is the main door of the Garbhagriha. There's a Shiva temple. So there's a Shiva Linga here. There's a Shiva Linga. And then we have the spire on top. It is pyramidal in shape. You have capstone here. And along with the spire, this is called Vimana. This is called Vimana. So Vimana includes the spire and the Garbhagriha. The topmost portion is called Shikara in a South Indian temple, in a Dravida temple. Right? That's called Shikara. Topmost portion is called Shikara, and the spire along with the Garbhagriha is called Vimana. So you have a Vimana. You see here, Vimana. There's a water tank. You can see there's a water tank inside the temple premises, that is inside the compound. They're meant for the devotees to clean themselves, wash themselves before they enter the temple. Then we have subsidiary shrines. You can see subsidiary shrines here. So it is not in the four corners as it is in Nagara's temples. You have subsidiary shrines around the Garbhagriha, but it is not in the Panchayatana style. Did you understand? These are the main features of a Dravida temple, which we see in Chola temples. So let me show you the picture. Just hold on. So these are early Chola temples. On your screen, you see here, this is the Vijayalaya Cholishwara temple in Narthamalai, Tamil Nadu. Vijayalaya Cholishwara temple, Narthamalai, Tamil Nadu, 9th century. Small in size. This temple is small in size, as you can see. Right? Then we have the Mover Coil. Mover Coil. Coil in Tamil language, please understand. Coil. Coil means temple in Tamil language. So don't get confused. Koil means temple in Tamil. Or Kovil. It's actually Koil or Kovil. Kovil means temple, right? So Mover Koil in Kodambalur, Tamil Nadu. Again, this is a small temple you can see, but very, very beautiful. Then this is Shiva on the facade of the Mover Koil on top of the temple at the entrance. You have Shiva dancing, and you have beautiful, a lot of grace is dancing. So this is how early Chola temples were. And then under Rajaraja, we have the zenith of Chola power under Rajaraja and his son Rajendra, and they began to build huge temples. And the best example of Chola temple is this on your screen, the Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjavur. The Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjavur, which is also called Rajarajeshwara temple, also called Rajeshwara temple. Rajarajeshwara temple, tallest temple in medieval India. It is 217 feet in height from the base to the summit. To the summit, it is 217 feet in height. And this capstone, we have done this as part of Chola history when I did conventional political history of the Cholas. So the capstone here on top weighs 80,000 kgs. As you know, it weighs 80,000 kgs. It is 25 feet in height. And the Cholas are supposed to have built a ramp, a bridge, starting 6.5 kilometers away, slowly rising to that height. And then they pushed that boulder on huge trunks of trees. They placed that huge boulder on various trunks of trees, and with the help of elephants, oxen, human labor, slowly those logs of wood carrying the huge boulder was taken to that height and placed there, and then the carving was done. So that capstone weighs 80,000 kgs, 80 tons, 25 feet in height. And this is a Shiva temple. Basically, this is a Shiva temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. This was built in the year 1009 AD, and in 2009 AD, this temple completed 1,000 years of its existence. And even now, and this is one of the 3 living Chola temples. This is one of the 3 living Chola temples. What do you mean by living Chola temples? That is, whatever rituals, pujas were performed during the time of Rajaraja are even now performed in that temple. So therefore, this is one of the 3 living Chola temples. The other 2 are one built by his son Rajendra Chola, who conquered North India, who defeated Pala ruler Mahipala, and also conquered Southeast Asia, Rajendra Chola, who took the title of Kadaram Konda, and and he and uh, so he founded the city. He conquered North India, where he defeated Mahipala, and took the title Gangai Konda Cholan, and he founded a city called Gangai Konda Cholapuram. So this is the second temple. I'm coming to that. Just hold on. This is the second temple, Gangai Konda Cholapuram temple in Ariyalur district of Tamil Nadu. So this is also called Rajeshwara temple. This is also called Rajeshwara temple, or also called Gangai Konda Choleshwara temple, built by Rajendra the First. So Rajendra the First built this in 1035 AD. Right? This is another Chola temple, living Chola temple. And the third is the Airavateshwara temple at Kumbakonam, built by Rajaraja II. So this is the Airavateshwara temple at Kumbakonam, built by Rajaraja II in 1150 AD. So these 3 have been shortlisted by the UNESCO as the 3 great living Chola temples. You see here on your screen, I have given it the 3 great living Chola temples. Great living Chola temples, right? So Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjavur, the Brihadeshwara temple at Gangai Konda Cholapuram, and the Airavateshwara temple at Kumbakonam. Are you there with me? Airavateshwara temple at Kumbakonam. Krishna, why Mughals unable to reach in South India? No, Mughals, under Aurangzeb, if you are mentioning about the destruction of temples, Krishna, see, the Mughals, why they were not able to reach South India? They did reach South India, isn't it? Aurangzeb conquered Golconda, he conquered Bijapur, But then he could not conquer the deep south, where the Cholas, once upon a time ruled. So therefore, they have, to a large extent, they have remained untouched. They have remained untouched, and moreover, please understand, only Aurangzeb was intolerant. He was the one who ordered the destruction of temples. We have discussed Aurangzeb, peculiar man, a man of very contrasting personality. We also have Farmans in his name, which say that he also donated money for the construction of temples, mutts, bathing ghats, gurudwaras. At the same time, he ordered the demolition of many important temples, including the Kashi Vishwanath temple and the Keshavaraya temple at Mathura. Right. The point is, Krishna, he died. In 1707 he died after conquering Bijapur and Golconda. And Chola temples, of course, they were much further away from his point of interest. Yeah, Airavati is the Vahan of Indra. You're right. But this is called Airavateshwara temple at Kumbhakona. Okay. So now look here. Now this is a Gopuram. On your screen, this is a Gopuram. Gopuram is an entrance gateway. You can see here how beautiful this Gopuram is. So in a Dravida temple, Gopuram became more and more important. Under Vijayanagar kings, they are called Raya Gopurams, because the Gopurams were much more bigger than the main spire of the Garbhagriha. So this became more and more important. And initially, you have Europeans taking interest in the Gopuram, because for the Europeans, the Gopuram resembled a pyramid of the pharaohs in Egypt. So since it looked like a pyramid, I don't know how it looked like a pyramid for the Europeans, but that's what they thought, and they gave a lot of interest on the Gopuram. The Europeans. I've given a note here also regarding that. Just hold on. So Cholas, you see, they began to build freestanding structural temples. You have no more mandapas or rathas under the Cholas, freestanding structural temples. Initially small and later bigger in size, gigantic in size. The main aspect of Chola temple is a central shrine, the central chamber, that is the Garbhagriha, that was given a lot of importance, and that could be approached through one or more halls. You have high vimanas and monumental gopurams. And where does the word Gopuram comes from? Understand this? Where does the word Gopuram comes from? The word Gopuram comes from the cow gate of the Vedic age. You remember what was the main occupation of the Vedic Aryans in the later Vedic period? Agriculture. Agriculture becomes their main occupation, and of course, you have animal husbandry in the early Vedic period. So you have a cowherd who will take the cattle for grazing in the morning, early morning, to the meadows, to the grasslands. So when the cattle is being led away from the village, they're all led out of the village through a main gate of the village. So cow is called Gau, isn't it? Cow is called Gau in the Vedic literature. Now, these cows will be taken out of the village through that main gate for grazing. And in the evening, again, the cowherd will bring the cattle back into the village through the same gate. So the cow gate later became the city gate. Okay, when villages developed into cities, and city gate later became Gopuram. This is the explanation. Did you understand? So I have given here, you see here, Gopuram derives its name from the cow gate of the Vedic village, which later became the city gate and then the monumental entrance to the temple. And it was the Pandyas who evolved the Gopuram. Gopurams were evolved by the Pandyas. So initially it was a cow gate, a city gate, and later a monumental entrance. And you have this French explorer, Pierre Sonara. He was the first to give a concise description of the Gopura. He visited India between 1774 and 1781. Right? Now, please understand here, Chola temples. Understand this, please. This could be a question asked in the UPSC also. Chola temples were not just places of worship. Were not just places of worship. They were not just places of worship, but they were, in fact, socio-economic and cultural centers. They were, in fact, socio-economic economic and cultural centers. So they were not just places of worship, they were socio-economic and cultural centers, the Chola temples. Now, what is the meaning of this? What's the meaning of this? You see, you have a huge amount of lands were donated. Lands were donated by the king, by the emperor, to the temples. So lands were donated by the kings, by the merchants, merchant guilds to the temples, right? And there were many families who were dependent on these lands for their very existence. They were dependent on the temple as well as the lands to which these, also the lands which were donated to the temples. So here we have purohits, priests. You have a battery of priests, then garland makers, garland makers. Then of course you have sweepers, dancers, right? Then you have craft makers, etc. They all then devadasis, yeah, that is dancers. They all were dependent on these temples, right? On the land donated to the temples. So thousands of priests would be working in the temples, garland makers, sweepers. And then of course around the temple we have um, um, craft, production of crafts, production of crafts. Like for example, whatever is required for puja or prayers, rituals, that will be produced around the temple. So you have many of them became craft centers. Okay, craft centers. They all came up around the temple. So I've given this here. You can see here. So you have priests, garland makers, cooks, sweepers, musicians, dancers. They were all dependent upon the temple. Huge amount of lands were given uh, by the kings, and whatever was grown there went towards the maintenance of these people. At the same time, you see, you have the village panchayat. The village panchayat might have a meeting within the temple. So village panchayat might give its ruling in a temple because of the sanctity of that place. So ultimate judgment might be given by the panchayat inside the temple. So village panchayat might give its ruling inside the temple. Then marriage may be solemnized or fixed in the temple. Marriage may be fixed, okay, and then later performed within the temple. Then you could have dance, music competitions within the temple, right? For example, Bharatanatyam competition. Girls from various parts of the Chola Empire will come and they'll congregate there in that town, and there'll be a competition, Bharatanatyam dance competition within the temple, and thousands of people will witness that, and prizes will be given, awards will be given, like that. So Chola temples were not just places of worship; they were socio-economic and cultural centers. Do you understand whatever I just now told you? Okay, right. Then we move on. Just hold on. Padmanabha Swami Temple, there's nothing specific about Padmanabha Swami Temple, in Tiruvananthapuram, Jaswant. So that is in Tiruvananthapuram, Padmanabha Swami Temple. Are you talking about that temple, Jaswant? Yeah, they were not just places of worship, they were also socio-economic and cultural centers. Right, that's the meaning of that. You can see here on your screen some sculptures here, elephant relief, then Tamil written on the temple. So here the Brihadeshwara temple is 190 feet, actually 217 feet. The tower itself is 190 feet in 13 stories. And the capstone is 80 tons, 80,000 kgs. And It has a height of 25 feet. Then the second important temple built by the Cholas is the Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple. So, as you know, Rajendra conquered North India. He defeated Mahipala, took the title Gangaikonda Chola, and he founded a city very near to Tanjavur, about 40 kilometers away from Tanjore, where his father had built the Brihadeshwara temple. He found another city. He called it Gangaikonda Cholapuram, and also built a temple of the same name, which is also called Rajeshwara temple. So this is the Gangaikonda Choleshwaram temple. So what is unique about this temple is the huge Shivalinga. The Shivalinga is 13 feet in height. So you see here 13 feet height Shivalinga, and the circumference of the linga is 59 feet. Circumference of the linga is 59 feet. So it's a gigantic Shivalinga. It was built by Rajendra Chola in 1035 AD. And then we have, of course, the Airavateshwara temple at Kumbakonam, built by Rajaraja II in 1150 AD. So this is about Chola temples. Then, of course, you have Cholas who were known for their bronze images, the lost wax technique. They used the Sirperdu method of casting bronze images. Right? So, what are the important temples? What are the important sculptures, Raja? We have Nataraja. Basically, what is Nataraja? Dancing Shiva. Now, how many arms does a Chola Nataraja have? Hello? Can you quickly answer that? How many arms does a Chola Nataraja have? Sakshi says 4. Amanpreet says 6. Ankita says 6. Brajneet says 4. Gurcharan says 9. What about, how come 9? Why not? What happened to the other one? Gurcharan? It should be a pair, isn't it? Gurcharan? How come odd number? Ankush says 10. Okay, Varsha says 6. Dravid says 6. Okay, Pihu says 8. Hari says 6. Okay. Dimare says 101. Dimare. Okay. So it is 4. Answer is 4. So when we come to dance, we will talk about it. The significance. They have asked this question in the UPSC from the dance topic, the significance of the Nataraja dance of Shiva. So Shiva, the Chola Nataraja sculpture has 4 arms. So we'll come to that. So they cast bronze images of Nataraja dancing Shiva. Basically, the inspiration is from the Chidambaram temple. We have a temple in Tamil Nadu at a place called Chidambaram. So the main deity is Shiva in a dancing form. So they copied that dancing form of Shiva inside the Chidambaram temple, the Cholas, and they cast bronze images. Dakshina Murti, that is Shiva, is called the knowledge, Lord of knowledge. He's supposed to be the person who gives you discrimination. When I say knowledge, here it means discrimination. So it's called Dakshina Murti. Then Shiva has Kalyana Sundara, that is Shiva is marrying Parvati. So that is shown in the form of a bronze casting. And then Vishnu images. You see here on your screen, this is Shiva has the Lord of Dance, Nataraja. And there's a significance here. There's a beautiful significance. Each part of Shiva has a significance. We will explain that when we deal with Indian dance. Yeah, they copied it from the Harappans. Yeah, it is a legacy left behind by the Harappans. So Shiva has the Lord of Dance. Yeah, I have already told you, Aditya Anand, annotated PPTs are not available for all the subjects, not just history. There's some technical issue. The team is looking into it, and that will be resolved as soon as possible. And whatever you are supposed to get, you'll get it. So please have some patience. It will be sent to you as soon as possible. Okay. So this is Shiva has lot of dance. Nataraja, 4 arms, as you can see. He's got 4 arms. Then Shiva is also shown as Dakshina Murti. On your screen, this is Shiva has Dakshina Murti. So Shiva is called the Lord of Knowledge. He's supposed to give you the power of discrimination. Power of discrimination. Then Shiva has Kalyana Sundara. You can see here Shiva is marrying Parvati. You see, look at the Bronze, this is a bronze image. You see here how beautiful it looks. The contours of the body of Shiva, Parvati, and the other gods. You have Vishnu here. Vishnu has come along with his favorite wife, Lakshmi. So Lakshmi is standing next to Parvati. So Parvati is holding the hand of Shiva. She is feeling a little shy because she's getting married. Shiva is standing holding her hands. And look at the body contours of Shiva. Looks so beautiful, right? I'm not very sure about that, Sakshi. There's a hands around the circle. What circle? I don't know. Okay, so this is, no, they have come to witness the marriage. So this is about Chola period. Did you understand? This is about Chola period. Who is under the foot of Shiva? Who is okay? I'll come to that when I come to dance Pari. Shiva is supposed to be, the god of knowledge. So he is stamping on a demon. This is called Muyalaka. You're asking me, and that's what I'm telling you. Pari. This is Muyalaka. Muyalaka. So that is, he's stamping ego. He's supposed to be stamping ego and he's dancing. There's significance here. When I come to dance, I'll explain. Okay, no, I will not talk about Nataraja dance. What is the significance of this Nataraja dance posture now? When I come to Indian dance, I'll talk about it. Right. So this is about Chola period. So we have discussed Pallavas, we have discussed Cholas. Now let us go to Rashtrakuta art. Let's go to Rashtrakuta art. Just hold on. So many of these Chola bronze images have been smuggled out of the country, to Australia, America, etc. So one by one, there's a lot of effort to bring these back into India. So many um, idle thieves have taken away rich uh, icons from India. Okay. Okay, now let's come to Rashtrakuta art. Let's come to Rashtrakuta art. Now, Rashtrakutas were the feudatories of the Chalukyas of Badami. And we have discussed Rashtrakuta history earlier as part of medieval India. The Rashtrakutas were Jains, basically, they patronized Jainism, but they also tolerated other religions, including Hinduism and Islam. Many Arabs were appointed as governors by the Rashtrakuta kings. Now, the Rashtrakutas dug up a number of caves in Ellora and Elephanta. So most of their art activity is seen in Ellora and Elephanta. Ellora and Elephanta. And of course, they also built freestanding structural temples. But then early Rashtrakuta art is more about removal. They removed what they did not want. And what you find is a temple. For example, the greatest rock cut temple in the world is the Kailasa temple at Ellora, built by Krishna, the first of the Rashtrakutas. So Ellora, Elephanta caves, we have um, beautiful Rashtrakuta art found there. So best example of Rashtrakuta art is the Kailasanath temple at Ellora. It's a World Heritage Site. And this Rashtrakuta art is also called Karnataka Dravida style, right? So this does not contain any of the shikaras common to Nagara style and built in the same lines as the Virupaksha temple at Pattadakal. As you can see here, this is the Kailasanath temple at Ellora, cave number 16. So entire mountain has been carved into a temple from top to down. So whatever they did not want, they removed it, and the end result is a temple. So it is more about removal than construction. It's more about removal than construction, isn't it? So please go on YouTube and type Kailasha Temple at Ellora. You get some videos. You please watch those videos. You'll be amazed. In case you have not personally gone and visited Ellora and the temple there, the Kailasha temple at there. So 1 million metric tons of rock has been removed. It took 100 to 150 years to build this single temple, and 6 to 7 generations of workers have worked on this temple. So this is the Kailasanatha temple at Ellora, directly inspired by the Kailasanatha temple at Kanchipuram. So this is a temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, Kailasa temple at Ellora, right? So this is considered to be a wonder of the world. It's considered to be one of the wonders of the world according to Vincent Smith. He says this is one of the wonders of the world. And this Ellora caves were created on an ancient trade route. It was very near to an ancient trade route which traversed Ujjain to Python in Maharashtra up to Ujjain in central India. So it was very near to the ancient trade route. Then off Bombay, if you go to Mumbai, you have the Gateway of India, and you have ferry service there. In the Gateway of India, anybody from Mumbai or Maharashtra here, or anybody who has anybody been to Elephanta? So you have ferry service in the Gateway of India. Now that monsoon is almost beginning, or the sea, if the sea is rough in the monsoon season for about 4 months, they close it. So you cannot go into the sea. The ferry service is banned in monsoon season. So in the monsoon season, it is open. And if you travel 1 hour by ferry in the Arabian Sea, you reach an island called Gharapuri. You see here on your screen, this is the Gateway of India, right? So you take a ferry and go there to go to this island called Gharapuri, Marathi language, Gharapuri. The Portuguese conquered this island in 1534. And there was one natural looking stone formation which looked like the face of an elephant. So the natural stone jutting out of the island looked like the face of an elephant. So therefore, the Portuguese called this island as Elephanta because it looked like the face of an elephant. Locally called Gharapuri. There are 6 caves here. You can see here, these are the caves. There are 6 caves here. All these caves are dedicated to Lord Shiva. So here, Elephanta Caves, I mentioned it here. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site dedicated to Lord Shiva. And there are some beautiful sculptures inside these caves. You see here, Ardhanarishwara, Mahesha Murti. Mahesha Murti is the most important. 25 feet tall, three-face Shiva, three-face bust of Shiva. So these are the Elephanta Caves in Gharapuri, Mumbai, also called Gharapuri, Mumbai. You can see people are sitting outside the cave. So this is Ardhanarishwara. Shiva has Ardhanarishwara, man and a male, female form of Shiva. So this is female form, as you can see. There's a breast here, whereas there's no breast here. So this is left side is Shiva, right side is Parvati. Then this is Mahesha Murti with attendants. So Shiva, 25 feet tall. This is inside a cave. This is 25 feet tall. 25 feet tall. Shiva has, we have 3 faces of Shiva. You see here, 3 faces: preserver, destroyer, protector. 3 forms of Shiva. This is called Mahesha Murti cave. And then we have other caves, for example, in Mumbai, the Jogeshwari caves, etc. So here the Rashtrakuta art is seen in three phases, according to Adam Hardy, art historian. One is at Ellora, then around Aihole, Badami, Pattadakal, and Sirval near Gulbarga. So these are the main areas where they built temples or dug up rock-cut caves like Ellora, Sirval, etc. So Ellora site, about 100 kilometers away from Ajanta is Ellora. Ellora is also in Maharashtra. We have 34 Buddhist caves here. Basically, these were Buddhist caves. It was, rededicated. It was rededicated to the Hindus by the Rashtrakutas. So they renovated these Buddhist caves and rededicated the rock cut shrines. So basically, they were Buddhist caves. Then all the 3 religions are represented at Ellora. Ajanta, the main theme is Buddhism, as we have seen yesterday. Ellora, all 3 religions are represented. Hinduism, that is, we have Shiva, Vishnu, etc., depicted in the sculptures, and the temples are dedicated to them at Ellora. Cave temples, and of course, we have Jainism and Buddhism. So all 3 religions are represented at Ellora. unlike Ajanta, which is only Buddhism. The theme is Buddhism, right? Yeah. No, it is not Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Piho. It is called this is three-phase bust of Shiva. Shiva has creator, protector, and destroyer. Okay, so this is so you can see here Ellora caves dedicated to all the three religions: Jainism, Buddhism, Brahmanical faiths. So these are the Ellora caves. A picture of the Ellora caves I can see here. So this is called Dhumar Lena. Lena in or Leni in Marathi language, Lena or Leni is a cave. So this is a Dhumar cave. Lena or Leni is a cave in Marathi language. So don't get confused. So Dhumar Lena, cave number 29 at Ellora. Inside the cave number 29, you see here gigantic sculptures of Dwarapalakas and other gods. This is Shiva slaying the demon at Ellora, Tripurantaka form of Shiva. Shiva in one arrow, with one arrow, he is supposed to have destroyed the three cities of the demons. Therefore, Shiva is also called Tripurantaka. Three means three. Pura is city. Antaka means destroyer. So the Lord who destroyed the three cities of the demons. So Shiva is considered to be the Lord who destroyed the three cities of the demons with one arrow. And this is Tripurantaka form of Shiva. And this is the form of Shiva which is also highlighted in the Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjavur. Rajaraja highlighted this aspect of Shiva because Rajaraja himself was a great warrior. Did you understand? Yeah, Ravana Anugraha is in Allora. You're right. So this here, see this sumo, this is Ravana Anugraha Murti. I have told you the story also when I did Rashtrakuta chapter. Shiva and Parvati, Ravana Anugraha Murti, Ellora. Ravana trying to lift Mount Kailas. You can see here Ravana is lifting Mount Kailas, disturbing Shiva and Parvati. Okay, then this is Dashavatara cave. That is, Vishnu is shown in all the 10 avatars in one sculpture. Dashavatara. Vishnu has Dashavatara. This is in cave number 15, Ellora. Of course, it has got damaged, as you can see. Because of weathering, it has got damaged. But then this is Dashavatara cave. Cave number 15 at Ellora. Then, of course, we have other temples built with the Rashtrakutas, the Kashi Vishwanatha temple, the Jain Narayan temple at Pattadakal, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this is the Kashi Vishwanatha temple at Pattadakal and the Jain Narayan temple at Pattadakal, again built by the Rashtrakutas. Right? So you have a number of temples built by the Rashtrakutas. Just remember the main ones. I have given you either way other temples built by the Rashtrakutas. They are not important. That's why I have not highlighted it. But either way, I have given it. They're all found in Karnataka, in different parts of Karnataka. Various temples built by the Rashtrakutas in small towns. Then, of course, in the later phase, what we notice is the Rashtrakuta temples became multigonal, that is stellar plan. They have a star shape. Like Hoysala temples, they have a star shape. Right? And then Pandharpur became an important center of the Panduranga cult during the Rashtrakuta period. So this is Vitthal at Pandharpur. Pandharpur is on the banks of the Chandrabhaga river. Pandharpur in Maharashtra. This is on the banks of the river Chandrabhaga, which is a tributary of the Bhima. This is a tributary of the Bhima river. And Krishna in this town called Pandharpur, in this temple called Pandharpur, is called Vitthal. So Krishna is called Vitthal, and Rukmini is called Rukumai in local Marathi language. Rukmini. So this is the image of Vitthal and Rukmini. So Pandharpur became a very important center of the Panduranga cult during the Rashtrakuta period. Right? Then we come to Hoysala art. Jaswant, can you be specific? What is the reason behind showing gods and goddesses in naked form where they are not shown in naked form? Only Jain Tirthankaras are shown in naked form, Jaswant. Previous slides. Where do you see Hindu gods in naked form? They're not shown naked. Okay, let me move on now. So Hoysala art. Let's Ravana Kailasa lifting. Okay, where is it naked, Baba? Okay. If you are there are 34 caves at Ellora. How many caves are there at Ellora? There are 34 caves. Hurry. No, here, no, gods are not shown naked. Definitely, they're wearing, um, you know, they are shown wearing garments. Upper body might not be covered though. Okay, okay, we move on. So let us come to Hoysala art. Now look here. Hoysala art is important for this year's exam, both prelims and mains. You can have questions in the prelims or in the mains or in both the exams, both the segments of the exam. Why is Hoysala art important? Because a few months back, sometime in September 2023, three temples of the Hoysala period were uh, included in the permanent list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So UNESCO included three temples in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Three temples of the Hoysalas. One is the Chennakeshava temple at Belur. Okay, then the Hoysaleshwara temple at Halebid, and the Keshava temple at Somanathpur. These are the three temples which was included by the UNESCO in the permanent list of World Heritage list. Therefore, Hoysala art is important. Okay, Chennakeshava temple at Belur, the Hoysaleshwara Shantaleshwara temple at Halebid, then the Keshava temple at Somanathpur. Right. Now, what are the have you been to any of these temples? Anybody here in the classroom? Have you been to some of the temples built by the Hoysalas? Sudhanshu says no. Only answer if you have gone. If you have gone, only those people answer. It's presumed that others have not gone. Okay, Bhimare has gone to Halebid. Okay, others. So only one person has seen Halebid, others have not. Okay, doesn't matter. Now look here. The Hoysalas, understand this. The Hoysalas were the feudatories of the Kalyana Chalukyas. So they were under the Kalyana Chalukyas. So they were one of the feudatories of the Kalyana Chalukyas. And we have done the history of the Kalyana Chalukyas. You see, the Kalyana Chalukyas fought against the Cholas, isn't it? Kalyana Chalukyas fought against Cholas. So let me use another picture. Just hold on. So Kalyana Chalukyas fought against Cholas. They fought against Cholas in the south. They also fought against the Paramaras. They also fought against Paramaras in the north. Right? Paramaras, Pratiharas, etc. Right? And the Hoysalas who were under the Kalyana Chalukyas, understand this? The Hoysalas were the feudatories of the Kalyana Chalukyas. So they were assisting the Kalyana Chalukyas. So when the Kalyana Chalukyas went to North India, like central parts of India, fighting against the Pratiharas, the Paramaras, etc. The Hoysalas also went to help the Kalyana Chalukyas. And because of this frequent conflict, which the Kalyana Chalukyas had with other powers like the Pallavas, the Cholas, the Western Gangas, then against the Paramaras, Pratyaras, etc., the Hoysalas also assisted the Kalyana Chalukyas, and that took them to different parts of India. They went to North India, Central India, South India, and naturally, the Hoysalas got exposed to different forms of temple building, temple architecture. Many sculptors, architects, engineers, masons from various parts of India were invited to the Hoysala kingdom by the Hoysala kings. And that resulted in the Hoysala art, which is an amalgamation of Nagara, Dravida, Vesara. It's an amalgamation of all these three forms. You see on your screen, I've given it here. Do you understand? It's an amalgamation of three distinct styles, mixture of three distinct styles, Nagara, Dravida, and Vesara styles. Did you understand? So it's an amalgamation of all that thing, all those three styles, because they brought back masons, sculptors, architects, etc. from various parts of India. It is also described as Karnataka Dravida style. Karnataka Dravida style has distinguished from the traditional Dravida style. So the Hoysalas built temples at Beluru, Halebeedu, also called Dwara Samudra, and Somnathpura, and also in the Dharwad district of Karnataka. So main temples are found here. Now, what are the features? What are the features of Hoysala temples? And please understand, this was a time when Jainism was very, very popular in South India, including in the Hoysala kingdom. The Hoysalas, instead of patronizing Jainism, they began to build Shiva and Vishnu temples. So we see that again Hinduism was being promoted by the Hoysala kings, not Jainism. So it marks a turn towards Hinduism again when they began to build Vaishnava and Shiva temples. Now, basically understand this. I'll show you the pictures of Hoysala temples. First of all, you see here, this is the Chennakeshava temple at Belur, also called Vijaya Narayana temple, built by King Vishnuvardhana. The greatest of the Hoysala kings was Vishnuvardhana. You remember, he fought against the Cholas and he defeated the Cholas in the battles of Talakadu and Nolambavadi and took the title Talakadu Gonda, Nolambavadi Ganda. So he built the Channakeshwar temple at Belur. Then, of course, we have the Hoysaleshwara Shantaleshwara temple. This is the Hoysaleshwara temple at Halebeed. Basically, this is a twin temple, Hoysaleshwara Shantaleshwara. The parikrama is outside. I'm coming to the features in some time. Just hold on. This is the Kappe Channigaraya temple, which is basically a Dvikuta temple. I'll come to that. So look at the pictures first of all. Then it will help you to understand this Hoysala art better. Right. Now, look here. Now, what we notice in Hoysala temples is that the temple has been built in a star shape. The temple has been built in the form of a star. Okay, it is like this. So it is a star shape. It is in the form of a star. And since it is in the form of a star, it is called stellar plan. This is called stellar plan. There is more space for sculpting. There's more space for sculpture because it is zigzag. It is in the form of a star. So you have got more space for sculpting. Right? This is number one. Now, what we notice in Hoysala temples is from the base to the top of the temple, we have friezes. We have bands of sculptures. Okay, now understand this. I'll show you the picture, then you'll understand. You see here on your screen. You see here on your screen, we have elephants below. So throughout the length of the temple, it is in the form of a star shape. So throughout the length of the temple, in the first frieze, first band, you have elephants. So elephant symbolizes what? Stability. Elephant symbolizes stability. So throughout the temple, in the form of a star shape, you have elephants running through the length of the temple. Then the next stage, you have lions. No, lions. You can see lions here. So lions are shown. Lion symbolizes strength. So elephant stability, lion strength. Then we have thin miniature scroll. You can see here, thin miniature. This is called thin miniature scroll. So you have a thin miniature scroll running through the length of the temple in the form of a star shape. Then above the thin miniature scroll, you have horsemen. Horsemen, people riding horses in various postures, riding horses. So horse symbolizes speed. Okay, so this is running throughout the length of the temple. Like that, you have again thin miniature scroll on top, and then you have other phrases. You can see here on your screen, marching playful elephants. Okay, so marching playful elephants. Number one. Number two, lions. Number two, lions. Number three, thin miniature scroll. This is thin miniature scroll. Number four, horsemen in different postures. So horsemen in different postures. Then again, thin miniature scroll. Thin miniature scroll, fifth one. Like that, we have again on top, phrases narrating legends from Hindu textbooks like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas. We have various legends, stories being depicted in the form of sculpture. Then Makara. Makara means crocodile. So crocodiles are shown throughout the length of the temple, running around the temple. Then Hamsa. Hamsa is swan. Hans is swan. Swan and peacocks running again through the length of the temple. Then professionals, various professionals like drummers, barbers, professionals. People sitting, daily life of people alternately standing and sitting is shown. So various professionals, singers, musicians, dancers, okay, common people like you and me, standing, sitting. Then mythical creatures, festival ceremonies, people celebrating festivals, ceremonies, etc. Then artha, kama, dharma scenes, including courtship and mithuna. Okay, sex scenes. Then various occupations, some mythical scenes, they are shown. And again, large image panels, deities, spiritual stories from Hindu texts. So this is running throughout the length of the temple. Did you understand? Can you raise your hands? Okay, so this is running through the length of the temple. Now, Hoysala temple, Hoysala art is called jeweler's art. Hoysala art is called jeweler's art. Now, why is Hoysala art called jeweler's art? Because you have intricate. So Hoysala art is called jeweler's art because we have intricate carvings. Detailed carvings are there. So much so that if you go to these temples, generally, um, see, as a student of history, when I visit temples, I make it a point to take the help of a guide. You have a government guide there. If it is a ASI temple, Archaeological Survey of India temple, you have some fixed fees there. You pay the fees and then you will have a guide. And that person will explain to you. Because for an untrained mind, everything looks the same. But if that guide start explaining to you, then you'll start appreciating the beauty of those sculptures. So here, what you notice is when somebody is smiling, if there's a dancer, she's smiling. So the sculptor has even shown the teeth of that girl who is dancing, right? Such details are shown. That's why it's called jeweler's art. For example, in marriages, women wear costly jewels, and these jewels, marriage jewels, are very very costly because of the intricate designs made in gold on them. So similarly, we have in stone intricate designs seen in Hoysala temples. That's why it's called jeweler's art. Now let us come to the features here. And one more thing before I continue. In Hoysala temples, now let me ask you a question. In a temple, there are how many garbhagrihas? In a temple, there are how many sanctum sanctorum or garbhagriha? Generally, one, right? In almost all parts of India, you have only one garbhagriha. You have subsidiary shrines, but the garbhagriha is only one. But in Hoysala temples, understand this, you can have up to five garbhagrihas. We can have up to five garbhagrihas. So, for example, a temple with one garbhagriha, a temple with one garbhagriha or sanctum sanctorum in English is called Ekakuta. Ekakuta. That is a temple with one garbhagriha. Temple with two garbhagrihas is called Dvikuta. Dokuta. A temple with three garbhagriha is called Trikuta. A temple with four garbhagriha is called Chatushkuta. Chatushkuta. A temple with five garbhagriha is called Panchakuta. You understand? So you can have up to five garbhagrihas in a Hoysala temple. Then I told you that in Hoysala temples, generally they were Vishnu worshippers. The Hoysalas were Vishnu worshippers. And here in the temples built by the Hoysalas, Vishnu has a more feminine grace. He looks more like a female, with a breast, a slight breast, not a slight breast is there, and then of course the hip is much more wider compared to that of a man. And I told you the story of Bhasmasur. You remember, Vishnu takes the form of um, Mohini, and he kills Bhasmasur, and that way saves Shiva. So here you have a more feminine grace in the sculptures of Vishnu made by the Hoysalas. Even Krishna is shown like that because Krishna is considered to be an avatar of Vishnu. Now, in Hoysala temples, they have used the locally available stone. And so I'll come back to the features on your screen. Very interesting this is. Try to focus, please. So the temple is in the form of a star shape, asterisk plan. You can see here on your screen, it is in the form of a star shape, asterisk or star shape plan. And therefore, there's more space for carving on the walls of the temple. That is number one. Number two, the circumambulation, that is the parikrama or pradakshana is outside the temple. You can see here, people are taking pradakshina outside. Just hold on. You see here on your screen, people are taking pradakshina outside the temple. So the pradakshina is not within the temple like in Nagara temples, northern temples. This is outside the temple. So the parikrama or pradakshina is outside the temple. That is number two. Third, they have used the locally available stones. That is, in English, soapstone or chloritic schist, and the hard stone, kanashile or hard stone. So they have used soapstone. What is the unique feature of this soapstone? The unique feature is when the carving is done, when the carving is being done, it is pretty soft, not butter soft. It is on the softer side. Like marble is softer than granite, so it is that soft. The chloritic schist or the soapstone. Once the temple is ready and the carving is finished, over a period of time, over a period of decades, the stone becomes harder and harder. So that is the unique aspect of the stone. And therefore, you can make beautiful carvings because it is much more softer when compared to a granite. Okay, that is uniqueness of soapstone. Next. On the outer walls of the temple, we see beautiful sculptures. We have beautiful sculptures. Okay, basement lattice, that is pierced stone windows. You have stone windows with holes in between. That's called pierced stone windows or jalandharas, towers, shikaras, lathe turned pillars. So, and you have narrative and descriptive dimensions. Stories are depicted on the outer walls of the temple. Stories from the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, that is depicted in the sculptures. Further, temples have ornate carvings from top to down. I told you, friezes, elephants, then you have a lion, then thin miniature scroll and horses, like that. They go, one by one to the top of the temple, right? Even you have jewelry, headgear, clothes, depict the society of the period. So, jewelry worn by the people, the type of turban or headgear, the clothes worn by the people depict the social life of the times. Then we have bracket figures between the eaves and the walls. What is the eave? Eave is where the roof meets the wall. You see, this is the roof. Imagine this is the roof and this is the wall. This is called eave. You understand? This is called eave, where the roof meets the wall, right? That is called eave. So bracket figures are there. Shila Balikas. What is Shila Balikas? Women, female, feminine figures, beautiful feminine figures, and Madanikas, male dancers. They are shown between the eaves and the pillars. Then we have inner ceiling. Inside, in the ceiling, inside the temple, in the inner ceiling, we have inverted lotus. That is Bhuvaneshwari. That's called Bhuvaneshwari, inverted lotus. Then we have Vimana, which has intricate carvings. Vimana is the spire on top of the Garbhagriha. So along with the Garbhagriha, the spire, you have intricate carvings. We have different types of sanctums. You have a temple with one sanctum that is called Ekakuta. We could have Dvikuta, twin sanctums. Trikuta is three Garbhagrihas. Chatushkuta is four Garbhagrihas. Panchakuta, five Garbhagrihas. And very unique to Hoysala temples is the sculptors and the masons have put their signature. They have put their signature on the image or idol they have carved, and some more details are there. So that is very unique. Sculptors, masons leave behind their names, and sometimes they're signed. They have put their signature. That is very unique to Hoysala temples, right? So this is about the various features of Hoysala temples. Yeah, after some time they become hard. The stone. So look here on your screen, the Chenna Keshava temple or Vijayanagara temple. This is the first temple under Hoysala style. It was built. It is at Belur, the Chenna Keshava temple built by Vishnuvardhana. It took 103 years to complete this temple. It took totally 103 years to complete this temple. Kappe Channigaraya temple at Belur, Hoysaleshwara and Shantaleshwara temple at Halebid, they are Dvikuta temples. And the Somnathpur temple is a three Kuta temples. Now, please understand, these are the three temples which have been included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. These are the three temples included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. UNESCO list. The Chennakeshava temple at Belur, also called Vijayanagara temple. Then the Hoysaleshwara, Shantaleshwara temple, and the Somnath too, the Keshava temple. Right? Then, of course, we have the Hoysaleshwara, Shantaleshwara temple. Then the Keshava temple at Somnathpur. So I have given this here, you see, in 2023, September, these three temples at Belur, Halebid, and Somnathpur were included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. The Chennakeshava temple, also called Vijayanagara temple. Okay. So you see, this is Kappe Channigaraya temple at Belur. This is a twin temple, Dvikuta temple. You can see here stone windows, pier stone windows. Then this has been built on a platform. See, this platform is 3.5 to 5.5 feet in height. 3.5 to 5.5 feet in height. That is the size of the platform. And the parikrama pradakshina is on this platform. You go around the temple on that platform. So look at the sculptures here. Durga has Mahishasura Mardini killing buffalo demon. Look at the carvings. Varaha with Bhudevi, Hoysaleshwara temple. Look at the beautiful carvings. Darpana Sundari. This is supposed to be a Shila Balika. Beautiful feminine figure. You can see this girl. She is looking herself in the mirror. Okay, here she is putting a kumkum. You see, when she's holding a mirror in her hand and she is putting a kumkum on her forehead. And this girl is holding a bird in her hand. And look at the skirt. Look at the design on the skirt and the carvings here. Very, very intricate carvings. So similarly, if you have a Dwarpala statue in Hoysaleshwara temple, look at the type of dress this person is wearing. Very intricate carvings. So this is the most beautiful Nandi according to the ASI. Most beautiful Nandi in any temple in India. This is the prize given by the ASI. Most beautiful Nandi in India comes from the Hoysaleshwara temple. Yeah. So this is the Keshava temple at Somnathpur. So these are the three temples shortlisted by the UNESCO, right? Then we come to Vijayanagar art. So we will take a break here. Can we go for a break now and come back at 7 o'clock, 7, 7, 2, 7, 3? We can start with Vijayanagar art. Okay, so you go for your break. Hoysala, did you understand Hoysala art? So Vijayanagar art is there. Then we can come to medieval. Keep Chennakeshava temple slide, Bhimare. Okay. This is Chennakeshava temple slide. No problem, Ankush. You can carry on. You can't attend class after a break. Okay. Okay. So we'll go for a break and come back. Come back at 7:05. Come back at 7:05, please. Exactly 5 past 7. 5 minutes past 7, you come back and we will continue the class. I hope it is interesting. I know a lot of factual information is there, but then please go through it in a detailed manner. Then we'll come to medieval Indian architecture. That is also interesting. Once you finish this, carry on. Go for a break and come back. Good evening. Can we continue? Okay. So let's come to Vijayanagar art. Let's come to Vijayanagar art. As you all know, so Vijayanagara. Vijayanagar art. So the Vijayanagar Empire lasted from 1336 to 1648 under four dynasties: um, Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva, and Aravidu dynasties. Right, and the Vijayanagar kings ruled over major parts of present-day Andhra. They ruled over present-day Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. So they ruled over these three areas: Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu. And therefore their temples are found. Whatever temples they built, their art is found in these three states: Kanchipuram, Madurai, Lepakshi, Tadipatri, Hampi, and so on and so forth. These are all the important places where we find Vijayanagar art. Now, the Vijayanagar rulers fought against the Bahmani sultans, isn't it? So here, it was not. So they fought against the Bahmani sultans, Vijayanagara versus the Bahmanis. Now, this was not a Hindu-Muslim fight. If somebody says this was a Hindu-Muslim fight, this is nothing but distortion of history. Because we have equal number of Hindus in the Bahmani armies, just as we have quite a sizable number of Muslims serving in the Vijayanagar army. So it was not a Hindu-Muslim fight, as many of the British historians had told us. They fought basically over three issues. They fought over three areas: the Tungabhadra basin, that is the Raichur Doab. We know this. They fought over the Raichur Doab, the fertile belt of land between the Krishna and the Tungabhadra rivers. Then the Krishna Godavari Delta, isn't it? The Krishna Godavari Delta and the Konkan coast. These are the three areas over which they fought. So here, please understand, the UNESCO tells us that the Vijayanagar art is a uniquely, it is a expression of very multi-ethnic. It is a expression of a multi-ethnic and a multi-religious society. This is not me who is telling this. It is the UNESCO which has told that. So it is a reflection of a multi-ethnic and a multi-religious society. You can see here, Vijayanagar style is also called Vijayanagar art is also called Vijayanagar style or Provida style. Vijayanagar style or Provida style. And according to UNESCO, it reflects a highly evolved, multi-religious and multi-ethnic society. Right? Now, the temples are made of granite. Let us look at the features of Vijayanagar art. Temples were made of granite, and they consist of many parts of a temple, like an Ardha Mandapa, Maha Mandapa, Mantapa. So Ardha Mandapa, Maha Mantapa. Mantapa, as you know, is an entrance porch, isn't it? Entrance porch is called a Mantapa. So Ardha Mandapa, Maha Mantapa, Garbhagriha, Sukhanasi. What Sukhanasi? You have an external ornamented feature just above the Garbhagriha on the outside. Just outside the Garbhagriha, on top of the door of the Garbhagriha, you have a ornamented feature that's called Sukhanasi. So I've explained it here. An external ornamented feature over the entrance to the Garbhagriha or inner shrine, right? Then we have multi-angled pillars and piers. Horse is the most frequently depicted animal on their pillars. A mythical horse called hippogriff. This is basically a mythical horse or a supernatural horse. We have sculptures of Hindu gods, goddesses, themes from the epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata that has been shown, elephants, horses, etc. Sangita Mantapa, that is a place where you have music, dance, drama that was created, that was conducted in that particular hall. Therefore, it's called Sangita Mantapa. So the temples of Sangita Mantapa. They have Vasanta Mantapa to celebrate Vasantotsav. Vasantotsav is the arrival of spring. So this was a tradition begun by Achyutaraya in the 1460s. So Achyuta Devaraya, he was the one who began this tradition of celebrating spring festival, the arrival of spring festival. So there was a separate hall which was constructed called Vasanta Mantapa, and you have ordinary mantapas for the consort of the deity. Then we have Kalyana Mantapas, where we have the god and the goddess were married on ceremonial occasions for divine weddings, Kalyana Mantapas. Then Amman Shrine, that is a separate cell for the consort of the god. So for example, if it's a Shiva temple, you have a separate cell for the goddess, Amman Shrine, found in the temple complex. Then huge gopurams, they're called Raya Gopurams, that is entrance gateway, as was magnified. So Krishnadevaraya basically enhanced the size of the Gopura. Gopura is an entrance gateway. So they are called Raya Gopurams after Krishnadevaraya. Then high enclosure walls. You have high boundary walls around Vijayanagar temples because of the frequent wars which they fought with the Bahamanis. Right? So these are the features of Vijayanagar art. Then we have monuments divided into two categories. We have religious buildings and secular buildings. So what are the religious buildings of the Vijayanagar rulers? We have temples at Hampi. Which are the important temples at Hampi? Hazara Rama Swami Temple. This is look here on your screen. This is the Hazara Rama Swami Temple at Hampi. Why is it called Hazar? Hazar, as you know, is 1,000. Hazara. Hazar is 1,000. So here inside this temple, we have 1,000 Ramayana paintings. So on the walls of the temple, we have 1,000 Ramayana paintings. Hence, it's called Hazara Rama Temple. Not 100, Baba, 1,000, Sakshi. Yeah, 1,000 pictures of Ramayana, 1,000 paintings of Ramayana, right? Who built this temple? Devaraya II. You see here on your screen, Devaraya II built this temple. Devaraya was the greatest of the Sangama dynasty, isn't it? We have done the Vijayanagar Empire chapter. So Sangama, he belonged to the Sangama dynasty. He was the greatest of the Sangama dynasty, Devaraya II, called Prauda Devaraya or Immadi Devaraya. And on his coins, we have the title Gajabetekara, the elephant hunter. Then we have the Tulabhara Mantapa. Tulabhara Mantapa. What is Tulabhara? Anybody? What is Tulabhara? Anybody? Tulabhara is you have a weighing scale. Understand this. You have a weighing scale. Okay. So this is the weighing scale. This is the weighing scale. So what will happen is on important occasions, like for example, let's say you have the king's birthday. So the king will sit on one weighing scale. For example, let us say this is weighing scale. King is sitting here. Equal amount of weight, slightly little bit more than equal of amount of weight of the king is put in terms of gold coins, silver coins, etc. So slightly it should be more than the king's weight, and that wealth, which is which is in the opposite weighing scale, slightly heavier than the king's weight, is distributed amongst the poor and the needy. That's called Tulabhara Mantapa, where the weighing scale was kept, a giant weighing scale. Okay, Tuladan. Okay, fine. Arun says Tuladan. Okay, fine. Yeah, very good. So, that Tulabhara Mantapa was built by Krishnadevaraya after his victory over the Gajapatis. After defeating the Gajapatis, he ordered the construction of the Tulabhara Mantapa within the Hazara Rama temple. Then we have Vithala temple on your screen. You see Vijaya Vithala temple, also called Vijaya Vithala temple, again built by Devaraya II. And in the premises of the Vijaya Vithala temple, we have a monolithic chariot, which was ordered to be constructed by Krishnadevaraya. When he went to Puri, when he defeated the Gajapatis of Orissa, married the daughter of the Gajapati king, Annapurna Devi. So he marries her, and he went to Konark. He visited Konark, the Sun Temple, and he was impressed with that Sun Temple. He ordered the construction of something like a chariot within Hampi. So this is found in the premises of the Vijaya Vithala temple. A monolithic chariot stands there, and also Krishnadevaraya added a Kalyana Mantapa to the Vijaya Vithala temple. And the uniqueness of this temple, Vijaya Vithala temple, is that it has 56 pillars. 56 pillars. They are made of stone. And when you gently tap on those stone pillars, they create music. That's why they are called Saregama pillars. So you see here on your screen, this is the Vijaya Vithala temple. And the chariot, this is a monolithic chariot. ordered to be constructed by Krishnadevaraya, sculpted by on the orders of Krishnadevaraya. And this is the Vijaya Vittala temple, which has those stone pillars. So when you gently tap on it with your hand, they create music, and how the music comes is a mystery even now. So they are even now functional, right? So it has 56 musical pillars. Then Achyutaraya temple, Mahanavami Dibba. These are the religious buildings in Hampi. Then we have Vijayanagar kings building other temples in other parts of South India, whichever area they ruled over. For example, we have the Veerabhadra temple at Lepakshi. Lepakshi is in Andhra Pradesh. So the Veerabhadra temple was built by two governors, Veeranna and Veerappanna, governors of Penukonda, during the rule of King Achyutaraya. You remember the fourth dynasty operated from Penukonda, the Aravidu dynasty. So Veeranna and Veerappanna, governors of Penukonda, built it. Now then we have other temples. I have made a chart for your convenience. On your screen you see here Vijaya Shankara temple at Sringeri in Karnataka. 1,000-pillared Basadi, also called Tribhuvana Chudamani Basadi. This is in Mudabidri in Karnataka. Ramalingeshwara temple at Tadipatri in Andhra. Ekambaranatha temple at Kanchipuram in Tamil Nadu. Shiva temple at Chidambaram. The Ranganatha temple at Srirangam in Tamil Nadu. And Meenakshi Sundareshwara temple. An annex was added by the Vijayanagar kings. An addition made. I have made it in very clear in brackets. An addition has been made to the Meenakshi Sundareshwara temple by the Vijayanagar kings. This is in Madurai, Tamil Nadu. These are the religious buildings of the Vijayanagar rulers. Then we come to secular buildings. So they showed Indo-Islamic style. Hindu and Islamic styles are seen in their secular buildings. So what are the buildings? All are located at Hampe. For example, we have the Lotus Mahal. This is the Lotus Mahal you see here. Just hold on. This is the monolithic chariot in the premises of the Vijay Vittala temple at Hampi. And we have similar chariots in Mahabalipuram and Konark. The inspiration for this comes from Konark. So it's a monolithic chariot. Then these are the musical pillars in the Vijaya Vittala temple at Hampi. You see all these structures, monuments remain untouched. They have not been vandalized, destroyed. If the Bahmani were responsible for it, they should have destroyed all these things. They have not done it. So I have to given the explanation for that when I did Vijayanagar chapter. So these are the musical pillars inside the Vijaya Vittala temple at Hampi. This is the Mahanavami Dibba or Dasara Dibba. So Navaratri is called Dasara in Karnataka, and Navaratri was a great festival, a state festival under the Vijayanagar rulers. So this particular platform is 40 feet height. It is 40 feet in height from the base. It was ordered to be constructed by Krishnadevaraya in 1513 after his victory over Udayagiri in the Nellore district. So he defeated the Gajapati king and conquered Udayagiri. And then he ordered the construction of this Mahanavami Dibba, as it is called, this platform. So the emperor Vijayanagar Krishnadevaraya used to sit on this platform and he used to watch the Navaratri celebrations, including various bouts, wrestling competition, archery, dance, music, march pasts, etc. So all were viewed by the emperor sitting on this particular platform. This is the mythical horse, the hippogriff. As you can see, hippogriff. This is called the hippogriff, a mythical horse. Then this is the Lotus Mahal or Kamal Mahal. Kamal, as you know, is lotus. So this is in the Sarvato Bhadra style. So what is the meaning of Sarvato Bhadra style? Sarvato Bhadra means it is open in all the four directions. You can enter this hall, this building from all the four directions. Therefore, called Sarvato Bhadra style. I'll come back here. So this is in the Sarvato Bhadra style. Sarvato Bhadra means what? Can be entered from all directions. That's called Sarvato Bhadra style. Then we have elephant stables, Queen's Bath, Pushkarni. Pushkarni is a step well, and the water was supplied by a tank called Kamalapur tank. Royal audience watchtowers. Not four gateways, sorry, I never said gateways. That Lotus Mahal can be entered from all the directions. That is called Sarvato Bhadra style. And it has both Hindu and Islamic elements, as you can see. That's called Lotus Mahal. These are the elephant stables you see here. It is rectangular in shape. These elephant stables. So you can imagine an elephant in each of these sheds. Some say these are administrative buildings. These were administrative buildings, not elephant stables, but then generally it is considered to be elephant stables. These are the queens. This is the queen's bath. So Vijayanagar kings had hundreds and thousands of queens. So water was filled here, and you can imagine women making a lot of noise and singing, swimming here, diving here, etc. This is the step well, Pushkarni in Hampi. Look at the beautiful stonework. It's made of stones, and look at the arrangement of the stones. Look at the steps, so beautiful. These are the statues, the bronze statues of Krishnadevaraya with his two queens inside the Tirumala Tirupati temple in Andhra Pradesh, with his two consorts, Queens Chinnama Devi and Tirumala Devi. He visited this temple after his victory after conquering Udayagiri, after defeating the Gajapatis. This is Krishnadevaraya. And look at his unique cap he's wearing. Then this is the biggest Nandi in India. This is the biggest monolithic Nandi in India, found in the Veerabhadra temple in Nepakshi, Andhra Pradesh. So on the Bangalore-Hyderabad highway, so when you just enter Andhra Pradesh from Karnataka, you have a town just off the highway, on the Bangalore-Hyderabad highway. And when you just take a small deviation, you travel about 20 kilometers, you have a town called Lepakshi. So this is where this monolithic Nandi is found. This monolithic Nandi is 27 feet in length. You see here, length is 27 feet and height is 15 feet. This is the largest Nandi in India, monolithic Nandi in India, belonging to the Vijayanagar period. The largest fresco also comes from this particular temple on the ceiling of the Veerabhadra temple. Fresco is a painting. So this is 24 feet in length and 14 feet in width. It is in the Lepakshi temple, that is Veerabhadra temple, on the ceiling, the largest fresco in India. Hanging pillar from Veerabhadra temple, Lepakshi. You can take a kerchief, a piece of cloth, and then you can slide it under the pillar, and the pillar is literally hanging, not touching the ground. And there's some quaint explanation given by the local guide there, but don't take him seriously. Then we have the largest Nagalinga, again in the Veerabhadra temple. You see here, you have a linga and a naga, that is a snake, giving protection with its hood. I'm not very sure about the Tirupati Balaji temple, Hari. I'm not very sure. I have not done any reading. Tomorrow I'll talk about it, right? Tomorrow I'll throw some light on that. The Balaji temple, of course, the idol is supposed to be Swayam, what do you call, it is supposed to have, Vishnu is supposed to have become a stone there. That's why it's called Bhu Vaikunta. So I'll talk about it tomorrow. The archaeological importance of the temple, who built it, etc. Right? Okay. Then I have given you the list of sculptures. You can just rely on my PPTs for Vijayanagara, Chola, etc. You can see here important sculptures of the Vijayanagar period. The oldest sculpture is that of Irugappa Dandanayaka, I believe. I have collected information from various books, from local books. So therefore, a lot of information is there about Vijayanagara, about many other dynasties. So various sculptures at Hampe, Kadalekalu Ganesha, Sasavekalu Ganesha, etc. So the important sculptures of the Vijayanagar rulers. Then we come to Nayaka style. Are you clear with me, all of you? Any doubts? Vijayanagar style. So remember the religious buildings and the secular buildings and the important features of Vijayanagar art. So we have discussed Vijayanagar art, then of course Hoysala art, Rashtrakuta, Chola, all that. Then we move on. Nayakas. So we have the Nayakas who ruled over Jinji, Vellore, Madurai, Tanjavur, etc. So these are the areas they ruled. We have Kulashekara Pandya. So he built the main shrine of the Meenakshi Sundareshwara temple at Madurai. So this is the Meenakshi Sundareshwara temple at Madurai. So here Parvati is called Meenakshi, the fish-eyed goddess. So Meenakshi, in Tamil language, meen means fish, meen, and Akshi is eyes. So it literally translates to the fish-eyed goddess. Fish-eyed goddess. So it literally translates to that, Meenakshi. And Shiva is called Sundareshwara. in this particular temple. So this particular city, Madurai, is on the banks of the Vaigai River. The main shrine, the Garbhagriha, was built by Kulashekara Pandya. And then we have many Nayakas who added annexes to this temple. So whenever a Nayaka won a particular battle or he took a vow and that vow was fulfilled by the grace of the god, he built a temple. He added an extra building to the temple or annex to the temple. And that's how this temple has expanded in size. We have Vijayanagar kings also adding an annex to this temple. So it was expanded up to the 17th century by Tirumala Nayaka. So what are the main features of the Meenakshi Sundareshwara temple? We have a golden lily pond, 11 gopuras are there. You have 11 gopurams, 1,000 pillared halls. So the Nayakas introduced 1,000 pillared halls. 1,000 pillared halls were introduced by the Nayakas to a Dravida temple. 1,000 pillared halls. Right? Then, of course, you have huge corridor and then the image of Meenakshi and Shiva. So this is 1,000 pillared hall. You can see here. This is 1,000, huge. You get lost in this temple. I know they have put directions. They have put directions. But just in case somebody wants to play a bad joke, remove the directions and you ask somebody to enter the temple. That person will not be able to come out. It is so big, so huge in size, gigantic in size. And this is the Ranganatha Swami temple at Srirangam, Tamil Nadu, 240 feet in height. The Gopuram is 240 feet in height. Yeah, the Gopuram, in a way, you can say, reach its peak here at Srirangam in Tamil Nadu, the Ranganatha Swami temple. That is account of folklore, sumo. Silapadigaram, yes, supposedly. Yeah, they went to Madurai, Kovalar and Kannagi. They went to Madurai, and later Kovalan was ordered to be executed by that Pandyan king. Yeah, supposedly that happened at Madurai, right? So now look here on your screen. Let us look at the main features of a Dravida temple on your screen. What are the important features of a Dravida temple? You have the sanctum sanctorum, that is the Garbhagriha. Around the Garbhagriha, understand this place? Around the Garbhagriha, we have all these small buildings, all these small buildings. Natya Mandapa, dancing hall, Natya Mandapa, where dance competitions would take place. So, or dance would be done. So Natya Mandapa. You have a Kalyana Mandapa, marriage hall, where the god and the goddess would be married on ceremonial occasions. Yaga Sala, hall of sacrifice, where the home would take place or havan would take place. Viyala Mandapa, that is, you have the hall of swinging idols. So you have a small image of the god and the goddess. They are put on a swing, and then they are pushed as if the god and the goddess are enjoying the swing. So Viyala Mandapa, hall of swinging idols. Attached Kotara, storehouse, and then Paksala, kitchen. So these are all around the sanctum sanctorum, right? Then apart from that, you have huge gopurams, gateways, with rich decorations. So huge gopurams, gateways, then high vimanas with sculptures and decorations. Vimana, I told you, includes the Garbhagriha. The spire along with the Garbhagriha is called Vimana. We have pillared boundary walls, high pyramidical hall, then tank attached to the temple, then subsidiary shrines in the courtyard. So, and then Antarala, vestibule, the corridor which connects the Mandapa to the Garbhagriha. So these are all subsidiary features around in a Dravida temple. Sanctum sanctorum, and around that you have some buildings, and again main features of a Dravida temple. Are you there with me? Can you raise your hands? Clear? Any doubts? All clear? So you can see here on your screen, this is a Shikara in a North Indian temple, the picture of a Shikara, curvilinear Shikara, and this is a Vimana. Vimana includes the spire and the Garbhagriha, right? Then we come, so difference between Nagara and Dravida. I made a chart, please go through it. Difference between Nagara and Dravida. Nagara located in North India, Dravida located in Southern India. Nagara have multiple Shikaras, whereas in Dravida only one Shikara is there. We have multiple towers in Nagara, single tower in Dravida. Central tower is curvilinear in shape, whereas central tower is shaped like a pyramid in Dravida temples. Most prominent element is a shikara in a North Indian temple, whereas in a South Indian temple it is Gopura, that is entrance gateway. Then Ganga and Yamuna rivers are shown on the entrance of the sanctum sanctorum, whereas we have Dwarapalas in South India, Dravida temples. Not much importance is given to boundary wall in the northern temple. Boundary wall was given importance in Dravida temples, and pedestals are higher than the ground. The platform is higher than the ground in the northern temple, whereas pedestals are at the ground level in a Dravida temple. These are the differences between Nagara and Dravida. Right? Then we come to medieval India. Indo-Islamic architecture. So can we begin? Indo-Islamic architecture, medieval India. Clear, all of you? Any doubts? Can I continue? Can I start medieval India architecture? Okay, now look here. Now, medieval India. We have the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate lasted from 1206 to 1526. What sculptor's name, Bhimre? Can you be specific in your question, Bhimre? Okay, so the Delhi Sultanate lasted from 1206 to 1526. Now we have the coming of the Turks. The first four dynasties were Turks, isn't it? Of Turkish race. The slave dynasty or the Ilbari Turks, the Khaljis, the Tughlaqs, the Saids, and then the Lodhis. So we have the slave dynasty or Ilbari Turks, Ilbaris, then the Khaljis or the Khiljis, the Tughlaqs, the Saids, and the Lodhis. Now, please understand this. When the Turks came to India, why did they come? Ghori. Remember? Ghori, Muhammad Ghori. And before him, Ghazni. They came to loot and plunder. And Ghori wanted to expand his empire in India. He wanted to expand his empire in this country by conquering a few areas and also to spread Islam. He wanted to spread Islam in India. So basically, when they came to India, they came to loot and plunder, the Turks, and they did not have mosques in India. In North India, there were no mosques. And for your information, I'm sure all of you know this, Islam first came into India, into the Kerala coast. It was the Arabs who brought Islam into India. And the oldest mosque in India is in Kerala, the Cheruman Juma. I'll come to that. The Cheruman Juma is the oldest mosque in India. It is in Kerala. So in North India, there were no mosques. And Islam, the religion which the Turks followed, demanded that they pray 5 times in a day. A strict Muslim is supposed to pray 5 times in a day, as you all know. Right? And once in a week, that is on a Friday, they are supposed to go to a mosque. That's called Jummah Day. So on a Friday, they go to a mosque and pray. So it's a congregational religion. Like Christianity is a congregational religion. Christians go to church on a Sunday and pray. They're expected to go. Similarly, Muslims on a Friday go to a mosque and pray. And they're supposed to pray 5 times in a day. But then here, please understand, when they came into India, there were no mosques in North India. And they had to adhere to the tenets of the religion, the rules of the religion. They had to pray. So what did they do? They demolished, understand this please, I'm giving you a broad picture of this topic, medieval Indian architecture. Then we'll discuss the details. So when they came into India, there were no mosques in this country, and therefore, to fulfill the demands of their religion, they engaged in destruction or alteration of Hindu and Jain temples. They began to either destroy or alter Hindu or Jain temples, Hindu and Jain temples. They came to plunder and loot. They came to conquer. They came to plunder and loot and conquer. They did not come along with engineers, architects, masons, etc. They came to loot and plunder and conquer parts of this country. And therefore, they were helpless because their religion demanded that they pray 5 times in a day and once in a week go to the mosque and pray. So therefore, initial stages, what we notice is they destroyed Hindu temples or here Jain temples, and out of the rubble, out of the bricks, mud, um, uh, uh, which they got out of those destroyed temples, they built up a mosque. For example, we have the Adai Dinka Jhompra. Of the oldest mosque in India is in North India is the Quwwatul Islam Mosque. Quwwatul Islam means might of Islam. So the Quwwatul Islam Mosque was built by Qutbuddin Aibak. It was built by Aibak out of the remains of 27 Hindu temples. 27 Hindu temples were demolished. They were demolished, and out of the rubble, rubble is bricks, mud, etc. They built up a mosque. Similarly, we have the Adhai Din Ka Jhompra. Adhai Din Ka Jhompra at Ajmer, Rajasthan. So this is Adhai Din means what? A mosque built in 2.5 days, 2.5 days. So this mosque again was constructed out of the remains of demolished Hindu and Jain temples. Hindu and Jain temples were demolished, and then they built up a mosque. Only when they consolidated their position here, only when they became part of this country, they felt safe and they conquered a large area. The Turks abandoned the demolition of Hindu and Jain temples and they built independent constructions. So initial stages, we see a lot of destruction, demolition of Hindu and Jain temples throughout North India. And obviously, they hurt the religious sentiments of the Hindus, the majority of the population of this country. But later, they gave up that tradition and they began to build independent structures. Now, please understand, are you clear till here? Jasmine, how destroying a temple helped them to build a mosque out of the rubble. See, I told you, they did not come here with architects. They did not come here with architects, engineers, masons, etc. They came to loot and plunder and conquer. You require an architect and engineer to design a mosque. Okay, and then you require masons to build that mosque. They did not have anybody coming from their area, wherever they came from, Central Asia, West Asia, etc. So therefore, they demolished Hindu temples or Jain temples, and then they built mosques. Now look here, I'm yet to finish my story. Now look here. I told you they did not come along with masons and architects, etc. Right. Now, what did the Turks do? They caught hold of Hindu masons. They caught hold of Hindu masons and ordered the Hindu mason to build a arch and a dome, because a mosque has an arch and a dome. So an arch, okay, an arch like this and a dome like this. Don't take my drawing seriously. I may not have drawn a perfect dome, but I think I should be able to carry the message. As far as I'm able to fulfill carrying the message to you, information to you, that is more than sufficient. Okay, so don't take my drawing seriously. Now look here, are you there with me? So they ordered the Hindu mason to make an arch like this, okay, and a dome like this. Otherwise, the Turks told the Hindu masons that we will cut off their head. So to save their life, the Hindu masons had to run their brains. So what did the Hindu mason do? Look here, I will draw certain things. Look here, how did the Hindu mason manage this problem? He had to make an arch for his master, the Sultan. So therefore, the Hindu mason began to make his own arch to satisfy the demand of his master. So how did he make an arch? Look here. Did you get me? This is called a corbelled arch. So he told the Sultan, sir, your march is ready. You can please come and have a look at it. And this is called a corbelled arch. This is called a corbelled arch. Did you understand? Did you understand? So this is called a corbelled arch. Initial stages. The Hindu mason did not know how to make the arch. And as I told you, in ancient India, Indians knew how to make an arch. We see an arch, a true arch, is seen in the Barabara entrance, in the Barabara caves, which was ordered to be constructed by Ashoka. We have an arch there. Similarly, in the Damek Stupa at Sarnath, we have an arch. So it was not that arches were not known in India. The design of an arch was not known in India. It was very much known, but that design had been forgotten. Nobody was using it. The Turks introduced the true arch. Then the Sultan told the Hindu mason to make a dome. So please understand, whatever arches and domes were constructed by the Hindu mason was out of the rubble, out of the material which was demolished, which was got from demolished Hindu and Jain temples. Now, how did he manage to make a dome? He did not know how to make a bulbous dome. If you look at the domes in West Asia, they are in the form of a bulb. It's a bulbous dome. It's like a bulb. Now, the Hindu mason did not know how to make a dome, but he knew how. He had seen a stupa. The Hindu mason had seen a stupa. So therefore, he ran his brains because he had to save himself. Otherwise, the Sultan will kill him if he doesn't know how to make a dome. So therefore, he made a dome like this. He made a dome like this, like a stupa. Then he put one spike on top. You have on the masjid a spike, and generally in a masjid, you can see a masjid has a spike like this, and then you have a half moon, isn't it? You have a moon like this. Now, what did the Hindu mason do? Since he was a Hindu, he made one lotus. You see, he put a lotus on top of the masjid, or he put a kalash. He put a lotus or a kalash and told the Sultan, sir, your dome is ready. Please come and have a look. Now, therefore, what I'm trying to tell you is, in the initial stages, we have Hindu and Islamic elements fused in a hodgepodge of a manner. I would not say pleasing manner. There was an effort at combining Hindu and Islamic elements in the initial stages because the worker was a Hindu. There were no Muslim workers, who knew how to make an arch and a bulbous dome. So they were all Hindu or Jain masons working in building an arch or a dome. Later, we have the strict Islamic principles used. Once they consolidated themselves, they built a true arch and a true dome. So initially, we have Hindu and Islamic elements fusing together. For example, here, if you look at the buildings of Firuz Shah Tughlaq, in Firuz Shah Tughlaq's buildings, we see a prominent use of lotus. Lotus has been used on the masjid, on the mosques. So lotus is it's a Hindu design, but lotus has been used. Kalash has been used. Did you understand? Now, so here, what are the various elements introduced by the Turks? Please understand, the Turks introduced superior mortar. Just hold on. I'll show you. I've written down the points here. Just hold on so that I can save some time. First of all, you see here on your screen, we have the use of a true arch. So the Muslims introduced true arch principles. True arch. Minarets, minars. So if you look at a masjid, you have four minars in the four corners. They're called minarets, isn't it? So if this is a masjid, right? You have a minar here, a minar here, a minar here, and a minar here. That's called minarets. Like in the Taj Mahal, we have four minarets. So minarets were introduced. Scientific formulae. Then mortar has a cementing agent, superior binding material, like a cementing material, which will bind the bricks and later the stones effectively. Artistic calligraphy. So you see in Islam, it is not allowed to depict human and animal figures on top of their buildings. Humans and animals cannot be shown. Therefore, they had to design their buildings. They have to make decorations to their buildings. So what type of decorations they did? they used calligraphy. What's calligraphy? That is, certain lines from the Holy Quran were taken, like shlokas, important verses from the Holy Quran were borrowed. And the Holy Quran is written in Arabic language. And Arabic language looks beautiful. It looks beautiful when you look at the Arabic language, the script. So those lines were written on top of their buildings, like on a mosque. That's called calligraphy, artistic calligraphy. Then jali work, that is perforated windows. They use perforated windows with holes. That's called perforated windows. Perforated windows, jalis. Right. Then, of course, we have arabesque. They also use arabesque. Just hold on. What's arabesque? Arabesque is as a design element. So here, for example, let's say there's a plant like this. The plant grown like this, right? These are the leaves. Then this has got subsidiary stems, going all around the building like this, right? So this itself became a design all around the building. This was shown. Did you get me that? That's called arabesque. So they would use arabesque in their buildings. Geometrical designs, arabesque is calligraphy, jali work. So all these were used to beautify their buildings. Clear? Charbagh, I'll come to that. That is in Mughals, Krishna. Charbagh style of gardens is in Mughals, not earlier than that. I'll come to that. Just hold on. Now, just take a small note. Please take a small note before I begin the discussion. Take a small note. Indo-Islamic architecture. Please understand. Write down. Indo-Islamic architecture is divided into three phases. Indo-Islamic architecture is divided into three phases. Phase one. This is from 1100. Sorry, just hold on. Yeah. 1100 to 1400. 1100 to 1400. This is the monuments of early Turkish and Afghan sultans. Phase one, monuments of early Turkish, and Afghan sultans. This is the first phase, 1100 to 1400. Then phase two. This is from 1316. This is called provincial style. Just hold on. This is called provincial style. This is from 1316 to 1526. Why 1316? 1316. So take down. Began with the death of Alauddin Khilji. Provincial style began with the death of Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji died in 1316. Began with the death of Alauddin Khilji. When the central power became weak, and the governors in the provinces and the governors in the provinces became almost independent. Governors in provinces became almost independent. This is called provincial style. So here, please understand, once the central authority became weak after the death of Alauddin Khalji, we have in the provinces. Why is it called provincial style? Because in the provinces, a number of sultanates were established. Muslim rule was established in the provinces. For example, in Bengal, we have a Muslim rule in Bengal. We have Muslim rule in Gujarat. Then Kashmir, Malwa, Jaunpur, of course, in the Deccan. So these are all this is called provincial style. Basically seen in the provincial sultanates: Bengal, Kashmir, Gujarat, Jaunpur, Malwa, Deccan, etc. Right? This is phase 2. Then we come to phase 3. Phase 3. Obviously, Mughal period. Phase 3 is the Mughal period. Okay, 1526 to 1707. Mughal period. Now, next paragraph. This is Mughal period. So these are the three phases. Now, next paragraph, please write down. The architecture of the Muslims may be divided into two conventional types. The architecture of the Muslims may be divided into two conventional types. Number 1, religious, and number 2, secular. The architecture of the Muslims may be divided into two conventional types. Number 1, religious, and number 2, secular. So what are the buildings as part of religious structures? We have mosques, that is masjid, mosques, in bracket masjid, and tombs, maqbara, maqbara. And when I say tombs, it is not the tomb of an ordinary Muslim person. It is a tomb of a king or a Sufi saint. For example, we have the tomb of Akbar at Sikandara near Agra, or the tomb of Mumtaz Mahal and Shah Jahan, the Taj Mahal, basically built by Shah Jahan for his favorite queen Mumtaz, and later he's also been buried there. This is Maqbara, tombs. So religious buildings consist of mosques, masjid, and tombs, Maqbara. Now, what is the difference between a masjid and a dargah? What's the difference between a masjid and a dargah? I know it's a stupid question, but many people might not know about it. Hello, can anybody answer that? What's the difference between a masjid and a dargah? Now, don't Google. If you know, tell me quickly. Dargah is maqbara. Dargah is place where some saint is buried. Okay, very good, Sudhanshu. Okay, masjid is a prayer hall and dargah is a tomb. Okay, very good. Tomb of a prominent Sufi saint. So, Sudhanshu, Bhimre, you're all right? Yeah, Sakshi, dargah is of a Sufi saint. Very good. Hari says, no, dargah is built for a Sufi saint, not by Sufi saint. Okay, very good. Right, thank you. Then let us look at secular buildings. What are the secular buildings we can talk about as part of Muslim architecture? We have palaces. Then fortresses, fortresses, city gates, like, for example, the Teen Darwaza at Ahmedabad, or the Charminar at Hyderabad, or the Buland Darwaza at Fatehpur Sikri. These are city gates. Then gardens and houses. These are secular buildings. Okay, these are examples of secular buildings. Clear? Hello? Okay, so this is how we divide Indo-Islamic architecture. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Then religious buildings and secular buildings. Okay. Now, let us look at the various parts. So here, please understand, Muslims introduce all these things through arch, minarets, scientific formulae. Now, Hindu architects were not ready for experimentation because Hindu architects strictly followed the Vastu Shastra. They were strictly following the Vastu Shastra principles. So they were not ready for experimentation. Whereas the Muslim architects were ready to experiment. So you have scientific formulae, mortar as a cementing agent, artistic calligraphy, jali work, etc. We'll talk about it. So religious structures included mosques, masjid. It includes mosque and maqbara. So how does a mosque look like? Elements of a mosque. On your screen, I have put a picture. So we have the mimbar, pulpit. So what's a mimbar, pulpit? What's a pulpit? Pulpit is where the Maulvi calls, stands or sits and calls the faithful to prayer. So for example, you must have heard, you have loudspeakers nowadays. So the Maulvi will call the people for prayer. Allahu Akbar. So what is he saying? Please come, it is time for prayers. So that's called mimbar, where he stands and calls the faithful to prayer. That's called a pulpit. Mimbar. Right? Mimbar. Pulpit. Then I believe during the time of Prophet Muhammad, the Maulvi would stand on the topmost sand dune in the desert. He will stand on the topmost sand dune, and then he'll call the faithful to prayer, so that his voice can reach the maximum number of people. Nowadays, you have microphones, so therefore, he can use the loudspeaker and call. Then we have mihrab, prayer niche. Mihrab. This is called a mihrab. So Muslims face which direction and pray? I'm sure all of you know this. Muslims pray, facing which direction and why? Very good. Hari, West, Makkah, Medina. Very good. Sakshi, very simple question because, the Qibla, Asama says the Qibla is there in the West. Thank you, Asama. So the holy, Qibla, that is Makkah is in the West. Therefore, they face West and pray. That's called, you have a prayer niche, the prayer niche. That's they face West and pray. Livan is a prayer hall. House is a tank. So you see in mosques, you have a tank or you have a tap. So if it's an old mosque, you might have a tank where the devotees are supposed to clean themselves. It's compulsory in Islam to clean yourself. Once you enter a mosque, you're supposed to wash your feet, mouth, face, gargle also, behind your ears, behind your hands, your throat, etc. And then you're supposed to enter the holy precincts of the mosque. So cleaning yourself is very, very compulsory in Islam. So that's called a house or a tank, or you could have taps nowadays. Taps also there. Scene is a courtyard, and rivak are arcade or cloisters. So this is the cross section of a mosque, elements of a mosque. The picture I have put here, right? Then tomb. I have forgotten to bring that the drawing. I could not find it on the net for me to put a tomb. Muslim tomb, tomb of a prominent king or a Sufi saint. What are the various parts of a tomb? So tomorrow I'll bring it and draw it to you. I forgot to bring that book, which has that diagram of a tomb. So therefore, you please excuse me for that. Tomorrow I'll draw that because I've forgotten to bring that book, which has the diagram, and it's not available on the net. Therefore, I could not put up any picture. Otherwise, and I would have put a picture of a tomb. Right. Now, let's talk about the various phases of Indo-Islamic architecture. Phase 1, that is period from 11th to the 14th century. Okay, so let us talk about it. We have the imperial style and provincial style. Imperial style witnessed in the various dynasties, the slave dynasty, the Khaljis, the Tughlaqs, and the Lodhis. Sayyids did not build anything. They ruled for a very short period of time, the Sayyids. So who are the important slave kings? Of course, the important slave kings are Qutbuddin Aibak, of course. Then you have Iltutmish or Altamish. You know that. Then Razia, though she did not build anything. And then Balban. So these are the important slave kings. Khaljis, of course, Alauddin Khalji. Alauddin Khalji was the greatest of the Khaljis and the Delhi Sultans. And Khaljis ruled for only 30 years. We have seen this. Tughlaqs, of course, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firuz Tughlaq. And of course, the founder of the Tughlaq dynasty, Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq, founded the city of Tughlaqabad. So, in the context of architecture, Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq is also important. Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq, who built the city of Tughlaqabad. So, Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Firuzat Tughlaq, and the Sayyids. Lodhis. Lodhis basically, like for example, Sikandar Lodhi, then Ibrahim Lodhi. So these people basically built tombs. They built mostly tombs, otherwise nothing much. So we'll talk about it, imperial style. So here, are you there with me, all of you? Okay. Pihu is asking, can a normal person enter the Makkah, Medina? I'm not very sure. I think you should be a Muslim for that, Pihu. Or you can always convert and go there if you want to visit Makkah, Medina. I don't know whether it's allowed. As a traveler or just an adventurer, you cannot visit, I suppose. You should be a Muslim, a practicing Muslim. Okay, a practicing Muslim. You should be a practicing Muslim. Dargah you can visit. I have visited many dargahs. You should have cover your head. That's all, with a kerchief, or you can put a cap. But I have used a kerchief and I have visited dargahs. A mosque, I don't think it's allowed unless you're a Muslim. Smriti Irani visited presently. Ankita, okay. So the subject expert says non-Muslims are not allowed to enter the holy cities of Makkah, Medina. Thought as much. I also thought as much. Okay, fine. Yeah. Bhimare says, in our village we celebrate Muharram at mosque. Okay, great. No, we have a very syncretic culture. Many parts of Karnataka, many parts of India, we have a syncretic culture. For example, even in Tirupati, great Tirumala Tirupati temple, if you're climbing the hill, there is a Muslim saint. So people take blessings of that Muslim saint and climb that hill of the Tirumala Tirupati temple. Similarly, in Shabarimala, in Kerala, Shabarimala, you have an annual pilgrimage. There's a Muslim saint at the base. That person's dargah is there. So the Hindu devotees take a darshan of that person and then they climb the hill. So we have a syncretic culture, a tolerant culture in this country. Okay, so that is there. If you don't know, you please visit those places and you yourself come to know. So that is there. Okay, we'll come back here. So here, let us talk about the important monuments built by the slave rulers, the slave dynasty. So I'll go in a sequential order, all of you. So whatever is not there in the PPT, I'll make you write, and we will be discussing simultaneously. Okay, right? So let's talk about it. Now, slave dynasty. So slave dynasty, please take down slave dynasty. So what are the important buildings built by the slave dynasty? Slave dynasty. Slave dynasty. So we have the Quwwatul Islam Mosque. First of all, we have the Quwwatul Islam Mosque. This is the first building erected by Qutbuddin Aibak. Quwwatul Islam Mosque. Quwwatul Islam Mosque. This is at Delhi. This is in Delhi. First building erected by Qutbuddin Aibak. This was in the year 1197. This is in the year 1197 AD, right? And the Quwwatul Islam Mosque was, as I told you, 27 Hindu, 27 Hindu and Jain temples. Did you understand? Hello, all of you. Did you understand why did the Turks initially demolish Hindu and Jain temples? Because they required the material, they required bricks and rubble to build up a mosque. As I told you, they came from outside to loot and plunder, to conquer parts of this country. They did not come along with architects, engineers, masons, and they did whatever they did because they had to fulfill the rules of their religion. But then they also heard the religious sentiments of the majority of the people of India by doing whatever they did. So, 27 Hindu and Jain temples were demolished. And out of that rubble, they built up a mosque. Out of the rubble, they built a mosque. And please understand, in West Asia, they used to use bricks. Bricks and rubble, that is bricks, mud, etc., was used to build mosques. Muslims, when they came to India, when the Turks came to India, they got influenced by the Hindu architects. Hindu buildings were made of stones, bricks and stones. So, and that is dressed stone. What is a dressed stone? You know what's a dressed stone, right? So it has got sharp edges. The stone has been neatly dressed. So it is not uneven. The surface of the stone blocks are not uneven. That's called a dressed stone. So the Muslims began to use stones, dressed stones in their buildings because they understood that using stone, the building is much more stronger. It is much more durable and long lasting. So they began to use stones, which was not the case in the earlier stages. So 27 Hindu and Jain temples were demolished, and out of the rubble, a mosque was constructed. This is the first Islamic building, first building erected by Qutbuddin Aibak. And Quwwatul Islam Mosque happens to be the oldest mosque in North India. Even now, this is the oldest mosque in North India. The Quwwatul Islam Mosque built by Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, right. Then a second building we can mention is the Arai Din Ka Chopra. The Arhai or Adhai Din Ka Jhonpra. This was constructed. This is at Ajmer. This is at Ajmer. Built in 1200 AD. Built in 1200 AD. Again, during the period of Aibak, Qutbuddin Aibak. And again, this was built out of the spoils of Hindu temples. Built built from the spoils of Hindu temples. Hari, I told you the reason why the Turks did whatever they did is I told you they required the material to build a mosque. They came as invaders. They did not come to build anything here. They did not come for any progressive work. They came to loot and plunder and conquer, and they did not come with architects, engineers. So to fulfill the demands of the religion, the rules of the religion, they began to do this. They demolished Hindu temples, Jain temples, and out of the rubble, they built a mosque. They did not have the stones, the bricks, the material to build a mosque. So the best way they thought is to demolish Hindu temples, and out of the rubble, they built a mosque. Did you understand? Okay, so that's what they did. So this is the Adai Dinka Chompra. Then we move on. So on your screen, the Qutub Minar. You see the Qutub Minar. So who built the Qutub Minar? Who built the Qutub Minar? One answer. Krishna says Aibak. Sumo. Bhimare and Sudhanshu are right. Mega is also right. Ankit is right. Answer is Iltutmish. Whoever completes a monument, the credit goes to him. I have told you this when I did Delhi Sultanate. And looks like you people have forgotten. Whoever have got it wrong here. You have not revised your lessons. Or you have missed the Delhi Sultanate chapter. Now look here. The Qutub Minar was the foundation was laid by Aibak, isn't it? You see on your scroll on your screen. So the foundation was laid by Aibak. So right here, foundation was laid by Aibak. Completed by Iltutmish. Completed by Iltutmish. So what was the time taken to build it? Look here. So the construction began in 1197. So 1197, the construction began. It was completed in 1232. So it took this many years to complete. 35 years to complete the Qutub Minar from its foundation till its completion. 1197 to 1232. What was the purpose as to why it was built? It was built in honor of the Sufi saint Khwaja Qutbuddin Bakhtiar Kaki. You all know that. And it was completed by Iltutmish, of course. What was the original purpose as to why the Qutub Minar was built? The original purpose was for the Muezzin to call the faithful to prayer. We have the Maulvi who will stand on the pulpit in a mosque and he'll call the faithful to prayer. So here, this particular minar was built initially for the Muezzin. Muezzin is the head of the mosque. It was for the Muezzin to call the faithful to prayer. Call the faithful, that is Muslims, to prayer. Please come, it is time for prayer. Later, the minar was converted into a victory tower, Jayastamba. It was made into a victory tower. Did you understand? It was made into a victory tower. And first three stories have flutes and flanges. See this design you can see here, it's got a ribbed effect. This is called flute and flanges. It is there in the PPT. Just go through it. You see it on your screen. This is called alternating flute and flanges, this design. The first three stories have alternating flute and flanges. The top two stories are made of marble. These two are made of marble and they are round in shape. They don't have alternate flute and flanges. And as you all know, the Qutub Minar was completed by Iltutmish. Initially, it had 4 stories. During the time of Firuz Shah Tughlaq, Firuz Shah Tughlaq, there was a lightning strike and the 4th story got damaged. Firuz repaired the 4th story. He got the 4th story repaired. So he repaired the 4th story and then he added a 5th story and added a 5th story to it. The Qutub Minar is the tallest stone tower in India. This is even now to date the tallest stone tower in India. 73 meters in height. It is 73 meters in height. So tallest stone tower in India. Are you there with me? So made of red sandstone. Definitely. So, right. Then we have other buildings. This is the Adai Dinka Jhompra. You can see on your screen. This is the Adai Dinka Jhompra in Ajmer. a mosque belonging to the period of Aibak, again Qutbuddin Aibak, built in 1200 AD. This is built in 1200 AD, supposedly built in 2.5 days. Adai Din means 2.5 days. It was a mosque built in 2.5 days out of the remains of Hindu monuments, Hindu temples. Then we have another building belonging to the Ilbari Turks of the slave dynasty, the tomb of Sultan Ghari. On your screen, tomb of Sultan Ghari. This is just outside Delhi. So you see, this was built by Iltutmish. On your screen, you see, this is the tomb of Sultan Ghari. Now, who was this Sultan Ghari? This is his tomb. He was one of the sons of Iltutmish. His name was Nasruddin Mahmud. Tomb of Sultan Ghari is the tomb of Prince Nasruddin Mahmud, one of the sons of Iltutmish. Tomb of Prince Nasruddin Mahmud. So once this prince died, his father Iltutmish built this tomb, and this is the first monumental tomb in India. I have mentioned this here. Understand this. This is the first example of a monumental tomb in India. What is the meaning of a monumental tomb? Taj Mahal is the tomb of Mumtaz Mahal. That is an example of a monumental tomb. Which is the first monumental tomb? This one, tomb of Sultan Ghari. Did you understand? Hello. Bhimare, I told you, Qutub Minar initially was built for the Maulvi to call the faithful to prayer. But later it was converted to Jayastamba, Victory Tower. It is 73 meters in height, and the Maulvi has to climb 5 times in a day. Imagine, he will die of heart attack if the Maulvi has to climb 5 times up and down. So later it was converted into Victory Tower. Do you understand? Hello, are you there with me? It was later converted into Victory Tower. Yeah, I have told you, it is in memory of the Sufi saint Khwaja Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Khwaja Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. That was the name of the saint. A Sufi saint of the Chishti order. He was a contemporary of Iltutmish. He lived when Iltutmish was alive. Sorry, when Qutbuddin Aibak was alive. So, of course, he died before Qutbuddin Aibak died. No, Qutbuddin Aibak died within 4 years after establishing the Delhi Sultanate. Is it? So he uh, he lived more than Qutbuddin Aibak's era. He died later. So it was the foundation was laid by Aibak in memory of Khwaja Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. So whatever I have told you, so when I did Delhi Sultanate, I will not be writing on the board because it is there in the Delhi Sultanate chapter, and all of you have attended the class, presumably, right? So did you understand what is a monumental tomb? The tomb of Sultan Ghari is the first monumental tomb in India, built by Iltutmish in memory of his son, Prince Nasruddin Mahmud. Okay, then we have Balban's tomb. Balban's tomb. This has the first example of a Vassoid arch. You see here, this is the picture of Balban's tomb. And what is a Vassoid arch? This is a Roman design. You see here, this is called a Vassoid arch. Vassoid arch. You see here, I put a picture. So this is supposed to be a keystone, I believe. This is the keystone. And these are called Vassoids. These are arrow mark. These are called Vassoids. So Balban's tomb shows the first example of a true Vassoid arch. Bhimare, it has been built, supposedly built in 2.5 days. The Adai Din Ka Chopra, a mosque which was made functional in 2.5 days. The main monument would have been built probably. Then later they made it is called Adai Din Ka Chopra for that reason, because it was made functional within 2.5 days. They might have embellished it, made decorations later. Okay, these are the buildings of the slave rulers or the Ilbari Turks. Now let us come to the Khaljis. Let's come to the Khaljis. Khalji style is called Seljuk style. Seljuk style of architecture. Seljuk style of architecture. So you have, and one more thing, just hold on. I forgot to mention this, which I should have earlier done this. I'm sorry for that. Let me mention that now. Now, you see, in India, I know in some other class I had mentioned it in a passing manner. Now, look here. In India, what was the way buildings were constructed? We have the slab and the beam method. So this is called slab and beam method. Slab and beam method. For example, nowadays, when you see high-rise buildings, flats, apartments, what does the architect do? He will put a firm foundation and then he'll raise pillars. He'll raise pillars, right? And between two pillars, to bridge the gap between two pillars, he'll build a wall. So this is a wall, right? Which is bridging the gap between two pillars. But this wall is not a load-bearing wall. The load of the building is taken by these pillars. Right, and then you have a beam. This is the beam which is supporting the roof, and the beam is standing on the pillars. So this is called slab and beam method, also called trabeate. This is called trabeate. So Indians were familiar with the trabeate method. Now we have the Turks who came and introduced arches. They introduced arch and dome. This is called arcuate. This is called arcuate. So trabeate and arcuate were later combined in a very pleasing manner. Both were combined. Trabeate and arcuate were combined in a pleasing manner. Did you understand? I forgot to mention this. So this arch, this is the arch, this is arch, and this is the dome. And these two were combined. This is called arcuate method. And these two were combined. The trabeate and the arcuate are combined. So I just forgot to mention that. Now we'll come back here. We have the Khaljis, which is called Seljuk style. So what are the important buildings built by the Khaljis? They use red sandstone. Red sandstone was used by the Khaljis. We have Siri, the second city of Delhi built by Alauddin Khalji. Siri is the second city of Delhi out of the 7 cities. Second city of Delhi built by Alauddin Khalji, as you all know. Khaljis ruled for only 30 years, 1290 to 1320. Then Alauddin Khalji planned a minar, twice the height of the Qutub Minar, but he could not complete it. Only the first floor was built, the foundation was built, and the foundation itself is 70 feet high. So just hold on. I have put the picture in the Delhi Sultanate chapter. So incomplete tower near Qutub Minar, which he had planned twice the height of the Qutub Minar. Only it is 70 feet in height. This incomplete tower, 70 feet high. Then the Alai Darwaza, the entrance gateway to the Qutub complex. You see here on your screen. You see this picture, please. This is the Qutub Minar in the background, right? And then we have the entrance gateway to the Qutub Minar. This is called Alai Darwaza. Alai Darwaza. And this Alai Darwaza has a horseshoe keel arch. You have the horseshoe, the hoofs of the horse is like this, isn't it? The horseshoe keel. It's like this. So this looks like that. It has got a horseshoe keel arch. You can see there. Hello, all of you. You can see that. This is called a horseshoe keel arch. Right? So Alai Darwaza has excellent calligraphy and uses horseshoe keel arch for the first time. Then Jamaat Khana Masjid. So this is a mosque built on holy Muslim ideas. This is the Jamaat Khana Masjid in Delhi. So these are the important buildings built during the Khalji period, during the period of the Khaljis. So Alai Darwaza, please remember Alai Darwaza, the entrance gateway to the Qutub complex. Right. I've answered that, Hari. Main reason is, of course, I told you, they came to loot and plunder. They did not commit architects and engineers, and therefore, they engaged in demolition of Hindu and Jain temples. Later, they had abandoned that policy and they began to build independent structures. But initial period, we see all over North India, a lot of demolitions happening. Even under the provincial sultanates, this was there. Then this is the Nizamuddin Aulia Dargah complex. Nizamuddin Aulia Dargah complex. Who built the Dargah of Nizamuddin Aulia? Who built the Dargah of Nizamuddin Aulia? Arch and dome is the arcuate method. Arch along with dome. That's called arcuate method. and the arcuate and the trabeate were combined. So both the slabs and beams and arch and domes began to be used in a pleasing manner. Who built the dome of Who built the tomb of Nizamuddin Aulia? No, Brajneet, you're wrong. Sumo, you're wrong. Who built the tomb of Nizamuddin Aulia? You have not revised your chapters. Bhimare, not Khalji. Khalji's son. Sudhanshu. No, people, please revise your lessons within 24 hours. First revision. Within 3 days, second revision, and within a month, third revision. Arun is right. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Very good. Bhimare is answered also. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is the answer. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq built the Dargah of Nizamuddin Aulia. Remember, Muhammad bin Tughlaq's father was Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq, and Nizamuddin Aulia, the saint, had given a prophecy that the Sultan will not come back alive to Delhi, and he was crushed by an elephant. When his son Jana Khan had put up a pavilion or a kushk on the outskirts of Delhi to receive his father, who was coming back from his Bengal campaign, victorious Bengal campaign. So Nizamuddin Aulia, the saint, the Chishti saint, did not want a tomb, did not want a roof over his tomb. He said it should be open to the sky. I don't want any building or monument above my grave. But Muhammad bin Tughlaq, either way built it. I visited this dargah in Delhi when I was in Delhi many years back, and he's a very true saint, Nizamuddin Aulia, who saw the rule of 7 Delhi sultans. So this dargah houses the tomb of Amir Khusru also. Amir Khusru and Jahanara Begum. So Amir Khusru was given the title of Tut-e-Hind, Parrot of India, by Alauddin Khalji. So Amir Khusru also has been buried in this complex, in this compound. And Jahanara Begum, who was Jahanara Begum? The eldest daughter of Shah Jahan. Eldest daughter of Shah Jahan, who took care of him when Shah Jahan was imprisoned by Aurangzeb. So she has also been buried in this complex, in this particular complex, which houses the Dargah of Nizamuddin Aulia, the saint, and of course Amir Khusru and Jahanara Begum. Right? I think I have run out of time. We will continue with Tughlaqs tomorrow. So tomorrow I should finish art and architecture, and then we'll do other topics like dance and and other topics. Right? So I have run out of time. Any doubts here? Arch and dome. Bhimare, arch and dome combines gives what? Nothing. It gives nothing. It gives you a building, arch and a dome. That is called arcuate method, which was introduced by the Turks. And then they borrowed even the trabeate method, that is the slab and the beam method. Sakshi, I have not got any feedback about the Telegram batch group on Telegram. I have not got any feedback. So we will see. Just hold on. Just give me a mail. Please write a mail, Sakshi, about that, and I'll forward it. Just as a reminder, I'll forward it. So you just mail me. Nothing. It's a design. Thin miniature scroll is a design, Bhimare. It doesn't symbolize anything. It's just a design to cut the monotony. It gives, otherwise it may not look very clear. The elephants and the lions and the horses. So between 2 or 3 relief panels, they have, to cut the, design, they have put a thin miniature scroll. They'll be able to easily, look at from a far off distance. Ankita says, few months ago, Smriti Irani visited Makkah, Medina. I don't know, Ankita. She might have got special permission to visit. But it is great. If they are given a permission, it is great. That shows the tolerance of the Saudi government, I suppose. Hats off to them. Anyway, I have run out of time. We'll meet tomorrow, right? So, yeah, Krishna, that is the technical part is being looked into, and that will be resolved as soon as possible, hopefully. I'll remind them. You please also mail me so that I can forward it to the team, and that will be a sort of a reminder and a pressure for them also. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Good night. You take care. Please revise your lessons. Whatever we have discussed, please revise. Right? And we'll meet tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll finish art and architecture, and we can start with other small topics like dance, etc. This is the biggest topic. Okay, carry on. Good night. Thank you. When annotated PPTs are available, that's it, as soon as the technical issue is resolved, Ankita, right? So they are looking into it. I believe all the subjects they're not able to share it with the students because of that reason, including the recordings. So please have some patience. They're looking into it, and it will be resolved as soon as possible. So go back and read your Nitin Singhania book. Till then, till you get the PPTs, and then once you get it, then you can always revise. The master copy, the Bible for art and culture is Nitin Singhania. So pick up that book and read it, and then come back and sit in the class, and then revise the PPTs later. So thank you very much. You have a good night's sleep. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you. I'm logging out.